Yeah, yeah. Okay.
Man, thank goodness.
Welcome to the HEX Late Show. It's 43 OG here. And today is an important day for crypto people. Today is Proof of Keys Day. What is Proof of Keys Day? I hear some of you ask. It's one day a year when we all prove that we own the keys to our crypto. How do we do that? Well, we withdraw all our keys, all our crypto from exchanges, and we custody it ourselves if we're not already doing that, which I think most hexagons do that anyway. But let me bring up Jexa. How are you, mate?
Hey, buddy. How are you? Happy New Year, everyone.
Happy New Year. Happy New Year to everyone. Yeah, so, mate, today's Proof of Keys Day. Do you remember this?
I did not know it was Proof of Keys Day. I don't have to worry about that anymore. Everything's always in my own wallet.
Exactly. And that's the point. Because a few years back, the people who I was listening to people like Trace Mayer, like that was one of the guys that I was listening to, because he was talking and he was saying like interesting stuff that made sense. Like it made the whole crypto space make sense to me. Like, why have crypto if you're not holding the keys? Why, I understand the whole, that's the whole point. The whole point is you can hold crypto yourself. So I've got a clip. Now, it's not a short clip, but I'm going to play it anyway, because this was from 2 or 3 years back. And it's one of the things that influenced me, and it resonated, and it's very much along the lines of what Richard Hart has been talking about for years as well. So let me play this clip.
Hey, Trace Mayer from the Bitcoin Knowledge Podcast. So I'm going to start a new cultural tradition for the Bitcoin community. It's called the Proof of Keys Celebration. The Genesis block, it came out on January 3rd. Satoshi, there's the Bitcoin white paper. And as Andreas has said, not your keys, not your Bitcoin. So on this Proof of Keys celebration, what we're going to do is we're going to withdraw all of our Bitcoin from any third-party services just to prove that they're there, right? It's either on the blockchain or it didn't happen. Why would we want to do this? Well, we got lots of new people that have come into the community, and I think it's important for us to declare and redeclare our monetary sovereignty on a regular basis. Anybody who doesn't want you to hold your own private keys or do your own network consensus, they're your monetary enemy. They don't want you to be free and independent with your money. So, that's just the way it is. So this is an initiation for new hodlers of last resort. And they get to join with fellow hodlers of last resort and celebrate this Genesis block. I think it'd be a pretty cool thing to do. A lot of fun. You can choose to become a first-class Bitcoin citizen by holding your own private keys and doing your own network consensus. Second-class Bitcoin citizens, they only have their private keys. Third-class Bitcoin citizens, they don't have either their private keys or their network consensus. And if you're a third-class Bitcoin citizen, if there's anything that history in this space has taught us, it's that you're going to get wrecked one of these days. Yeah, just the way it is. So don't do that. The first rule of Pan-X to do it first. By participating in this proof of key celebration, it gives us a date. We get to generate a lot of discussion, and we can help people like with best practices and stuff. And it helps you develop the human capital that then gives you the optionality to be at the front of the line if there is a panic. Hey, why not? Better than being at the back of the line or the middle of the line. Plus, gaining the technical literacy will help put you on the path to safely and securely claim your forks and airdrops. And that can mean a lot of money. You know, a lot of people are just lazy with their security. Maybe because it doesn't really matter until it's the only thing that matters. I have a friend, went to law school with her, helped her and her husband buy their first $100 worth of Bitcoin. Told them, hey, you should use Armory if you buy more of this stuff. Because $100, you don't have to put a lot of thought into securing that. You lose it, big deal, right? Well, a couple years later, I got pinged on Skype. They'd lost like 5,000 of their Bitcoin. They were still using blockchain.info. So dumb. They got so wrecked. I mean, 5,000 Bitcoin, that's a lot of money. So when you have $100 of Bitcoin, put $100 of thought into securing it. But when you have 5,000 Bitcoin, put a little bit more effort into securing it. And you never know, like the price of Bitcoin can go up really fast. It's better to be prepared and to learn and develop this when it's not a lot at stake and you're not under a time constraint or pressure. I got tips: Bitcoin Core for network consensus, Armory for private keys, Glacier Protocol for operational procedures, Purism Laptop for your hardware. Maybe you don't want to put all that effort into it. I totally understand. At least take some territory in this monetary sovereignty fight. Run Bitcoin Core, encrypt the wallet, write the passphrase down physically, store the wallet.dat file in multiple different places along with the written password. Just start doing something. Develop some of these best practices. By not doing that, you're just not respecting the private keys. You play stupid games, you're going to win stupid prizes. There's a guy that threw 7,500 Bitcoins in his hard drive into the dump. Another ding-dong with about 50 Bitcoin on his iMac decided he'd go trade his iMac in without having a backup. Duh. Just, be careful with your private keys. Another guy had 335 Bitcoin Cash. It decided he'd import the private keys into an untrusted wallet without moving the Bitcoin Cash. Like, okay, poof, they're gone now. Good luck with that. Also, something that's very understated and people don't really appreciate enough is the importance of respecting the consensus rules. We saw this during the SegWit 2x New York Agreement hubbub. BitPay surreptitiously decided to call as an upgrade, fraudulently putting in a different node consensus software into their code. This is a bad idea. If you're not performing your own network consensus, you're at the mercy of those who do for you. Bitcoin Core even wrote an article about this. They said, quote, "The signatories of this agreement wrongly believe that the currency created by adopting this contentious hard fork will eventually become Bitcoin. Therefore, storing any Bitcoin on services such as Coinbase, BitPay, and Zappo is strongly not recommended. By storing Bitcoin on these services, you could find that after the hard fork, your Bitcoin has been renamed to something else or replaced entirely with a new altcoin." So, hey, we've seen this happen throughout history with fiat currencies. Like one day you've got 10 pesos and you got 10,000 pesos. The next day you got 10 pesos or whatever. It's a hard fork, contentious. It's a confiscation of wealth. Same type of thing can happen if you're running the wrong software, not doing your network consensus, whatever. Another thing to keep in mind with all of this is Hotel California. You can check in, but you can't check out. What am I talking about? Verification limits. One of the first things you start seeing when one of these custodians has issues with the number of Bitcoins that they have is that they start limiting or lowering verification and withdrawal limits. We saw it with Mt. Gox. Sometimes they start charging a large fee, like Bitfinex started charging 3% withdrawal fees, and countless others. So you just get all this stuff in advance, set up in advance, if you know what I'm saying. Like, it's important. Because these threads of monetary slavery, they're often wound around us, and they're too thin to be felt until they're too strong to be broken. Preemptively and repetitively burst any of these threads that bind you and declare your monetary sovereignty. We can do it annually with this proof of key celebration. Be a great new ritual for us. It'd be awesome. So in conclusion, I invite all of you, new people, join us hodlers of last resort on January 3rd for this proof of keys celebration of the Genesis block. Initiate yourself in holding your own private keys and doing your own network consensus. Declare and redeclare your monetary sovereignty. Choose to become a first-class Bitcoin citizen by holding your own private keys and doing your own network consensus. Develop the human capital. Invest in yourself that gives you the optionality to be free and independent.
I think you muted there, buddy.
That clip is from about 2 or 3 years ago, right?
Yeah.
But that clip resonated. I hadn't watched that in a while, and it resonated. And obviously, Trace Mayer, that's the gentleman in that clip, he was talking about Bitcoin. We're not talking about Bitcoin, but the basic tenets, in that little monologue, hold true to hexagons. Now, I saw someone comment in the chat that hexagons hold their keys, like have proof of keys every day, right? It's true. That's what was on that's what's on the banner, proof of keys every day, right? Because that's what we believe in this shit. Like, we don't need to take our hex off exchange, right? But the point is that the point that he was making, there's a couple of points that he made. Like the most important one I thought he made was like the first class citizen, the second class citizen, and the third class citizen. So if you're a third class citizen, you've got all your stuff on exchange, right? You're not holding your private keys. A second class crypto citizen is someone who has their private keys, but they're not doing consensus. A first class crypto citizen is someone who's doing their own consensus and holding their private keys. So what's the point I'm trying to make here? I'm trying to make the point that as hexagons, I believe we're a smart bunch, right? When PulseChain launches, I think we should really be pushing for as many of us to do consensus as possible.
So when you say consensus, just running nodes?
We should be running nodes.
Yeah, hell yeah.
And if we're technically capable of validating, or if that or if that can be something that is made like not too difficult for people to achieve, to validate, I would suggest people. I would suggest that people do that as well.
Bro, easy.
I think if you're running a node, the step to turning into a validator would be pretty trivial, because if you're holding the chain, you're thinking that all the time. Really, and admittedly, I don't understand enough about ETH 2.0 now. I need to dig into that a little bit more. But my understanding would be, if you've got the stake available, like as in 32 ETH or the equivalent. It would just be a matter of getting that stake up so that you can participate in as a validator, I would have thought.
So, and that's an interesting thing, like the 32 ETH. During the week, I was just doing some digging around of other sort of forks out there, EVM forks of Ethereum. And there's Gnosis Chain, which what they do is rather than having, because the Gnosis token is not, you would have to stake a different amount for it to, for the value that they want. So what they did, they had an interesting, their model was what they did. They create a meta token, and then you stake that meta token. And I wonder whether that's something that they may be considering with PulseChain. I wonder whether that's
so you lock up X amount of Pulse and get issued a corresponding amount of this meta token, and that meta token is the thing that you use for your consensus. Yeah,
that's what you stake. Yeah, that's
that
what
would. Yeah. So that would be the least amount of code change required. So
because it's being done externally, that would be sort of external to the protocol, like that meta token. That swapping would be external to the protocol, I guess.
Yeah. So with Pulse having a massive supply, then obviously there's more coding and checking and everything that would have to go into changing the underlying code to make that fit with our supply model. But if you have a ratio where you've just got to lock up that certain amount of Pulse to give you the equivalent of 32 meta tokens, whatever they are, that could possibly save a lot of work. Maybe. I'm sure the guys have probably thought of that.
So the beauty of running your own node is that you're doing your own network consensus. You're not relying on a third-party RPC. So if you want to do transactions, you're doing all the consensus yourself. It's a superior. It's like a level above and beyond just inserting someone else's RPC into your wallet.
Just on the RPC thing, I've spoken about and tweeted about Rabby.io, which is a MetaMask replacement. And one of my biggest issues with Rabby, like it's a great bit of software. I reckon it's probably the most usable wallet software extension out there.
There's no custom RPC.
There is now.
Oh, there is. Okay.
Yeah, they've just added that. The downside I can still see is you can't add your own network. So you can change the RPC setting of a network they have Ethereum in their list, and they've got an extensive list, so it's not like you're shortchanged on options. But yeah, that was a thing.
So you can alter the RPC, but you can't add a whole new
network, which I'm sure they'll get around to. But those guys are really good at when a new network comes along. They're very efficient at adding it, and I know Pulse has been in their to-do list for a long time. So everyone done a vote and wanted that added.
Is ETH proof of work on there to your memory?
Ooh. I'll have a look in a minute. I'm going to say no, but
But you would be able to add that because it's a different chain. It's a different chain number to Ethereum. So it goes down to like some of these wallets only let, like if Ethereum is chain number 1, right? They will only let you add a different RPC for that instance of the chain. So you can't add another chain number 1. But since Ethereum proof of work is a different chain number, most likely you're able to add that without any issues if they allow that.
I'll have a quick look and see if you guys keep chatting, I'll have a quick look and see.
Jexa,
I'm not convinced
their stance on privacy and security and stuff like that. Like, have they made any public-facing comments on how, on the spectrum of completely obsessed with privacy through to like we bend over for the government, where they roughly are on that spectrum?
My understanding is they are on the better side of that spectrum, where they're trying to get as much privacy as they can. Obviously, they're running their own RPCs and things like that, which people use by default. Now that you can change it, that's another step further in that direction. And I know they were looking to partner with a couple of the guys that their name escapes me now, but there was some guys that were big on the privacy side of things that were running. You might know at Tangent and 43. There was a service that was all the RPC nodes were purely privacy based, and you could tap into that. Do you know?
Poked.
That could be it. Yep. Yeah.
Pocket.
Yep. That's the one. Yep. Yeah. So I know that they were, last time I was in their Discord, they were checking about integrating with those guys. Whether or not to take it any further, I don't know.
So Rabby
cool.
is a new one that's on the list now that you can add an RPC, a custom RPC to it. We had Block Wallet. I thought that was a good option as well.
Yeah.
There's one that Block Wallet. There's also another one which is actually a desktop app called Frame. By the way, these are all listed on the Ethereum Foundation.org or whatever it's called website. So they're all like verified as legit wallets on their website. But Frame is another one, and the difference with Frame is it's a desktop application, but then it gives you, like, if you go search Frame in the extensions of your browser, like the web store of your browser, it won't come up. But they actually give you a link, like a private link that you put into your browser, and it comes up, and you can install an extension. But everything's done external to that. So it's that extension in your browser is just like a conduit to allow you to connect up to dApps on the internet. But the actual wallet itself is a desktop wallet, and you can use it on Windows, you can use it on Linux, Debian based, Fedora, all this stuff. You can use them on Mac. So you can use it everywhere basically. And I actually got that from the chat. I got that from someone in the chat said that like a few weeks ago. So there you go, man.
In answer to your question, Tangent, there's no ETH POW chain there. There's about 30 different chains there. Some of them I've never even heard of. Swimmer, Step, Shinden, Palm. Never even heard of half of them. So yeah, there's a whole space is moving pretty quick, man. I can't keep up with anything. It's just so fast the way it moves.
What was this pocket thing that you guys just mentioned a second ago? Do I need to know about that?
RPCs, mate. RPCs.
Yeah. Oh, it was RPCs.
Privacy based.
No, all good.
Yeah.
I thought it might have just been another DeFi thing. So what's up?
Not much, man. We're talking about proof of keys. We're talking about how...
Oh, by the way, that
Mexicans
video that you just showed of Trace,
every day.
I saw that video when it was new. Like, I remember watching that video. I actually do miss having Trace's voice within the space. I think he made the mistake. Well, if you're going to go you're going to pick between Alex and Ivan, I think people, and this actually maybe is a good lesson for hexicans to learn, is you can come back if you fucking apologize and like take accountability for your shitcoinery and come back. It's like the prodigal son or whatever. I don't know the parable, but like, as in, you admit that fucking Hex is the best crypto. You admit, you bow down, you kiss Richard's ring, and you will be accepted back as long as you don't keep shilling fucking garbage. And, you also just like deny till you die on the things that you did wrong. And so, like,
But so what did Trace?
Everyone makes
I don't
mistakes. Everyone makes mistakes.
I don't know I think you've talked
I would not acknowledge that he made a mistake. I just acknowledge that Bitcoiners are fuckwits sometimes.
No, dude, he fucked up. He fucked up bad, man. We've argued about this before. He fucked up real bad.
No, we have argued. He might have fucked up from the perspective of a Bitcoiner, but from the perspective of, let's say, myself, someone who's not like...
He just fucked up. He just fucked up in terms of crypto ethics, man. He shielded a fucking shitcoin to new people who didn't know better, specifically like behind everyone's back at the Bitcoin conference. So if he had done it publicly so that other Bitcoiners could have said, hey, wait, let us give you the other side of this opinion. But he targeted people who were new to crypto at a Bitcoin conference and shilled them fucking Wimblecoin, which ended up being dead forever, just like most shitcoins. So he went about it in an unethical way. And he got caught out, and then he did an Alex and just bailed and just ghosted the space and never came back.
Yeah.
So he obviously felt guilty. Otherwise, he would have publicly said, "Fuck you guys, I didn't do anything wrong." So,
or maybe
in my
just
opinion,
like,
he did.
I don't
he did
need any
fuck
of this. No, but maybe he just.
Oh,
like,
I remember.
took a step back.
Yeah.
Maybe
I remember
like,
having this. I remember having this exact exchange with you the last time we talked about it.
Like, yeah, I don't need any of this shit. Like, I don't need, like, I'm a fucking multi-billionaire. I don't need, like, the dude.
But then why?
The dude
but why didn't he already do that? Why didn't he already take that path? Like, as in clearly once.
No, but Mimblewimble
I don't have a direct line to trace.
So Mimblewimble's, he was probably thought he was introducing some privacy features, or was improving.
I think that's what he was pushing for. Didn't Litecoin incorporate something like that?
That's what I was just about to say. He could have been.
So
he could have been pushing the technology.
No,
he could have been pushing the technology, saying, "Hey guys, I think this is important that we start to make BIPs and stuff to get this included into Bitcoin." But instead, he was pushing the shitcoin that already claimed to have the tech, rather than making it a part of Bitcoin, he just went and shilled the shitcoin. Like, I think it was the combination of how he went about. It wasn't just the fact that he shilled a shitcoin. It wasn't just the fact that it was the combination of all the ways that he went about it that made it an unethical. Like, he was handing out these little cards that like shill the coin, like on the sly to noobs, so that the Bitcoiners who were like right there in the conference wouldn't know, like it wouldn't be as obvious that he was shilling. And it was just, he did it in a sly kind of like dog act kind of way, you know? Like, so imagine the equivalent being like at a HEX conference, someone's going around like handing out little fucking business cards, trying to shill some fucking garbage, like loosely related to HEX shitcoin, and doing it only to new people and not letting any of the HEX OGs find out about it, because they know that those OGs would come in and be like, yo, dude, like, consider all these other factors. And you know what I mean? Like, it's
So,
I'm not sure that's a fair comparison.
I think that's the perfect analogy.
Can I tell you why it's not the fair comparison? I'll tell you exactly.
Tell me, where's the flaw in my analogy?
The flaw in your analogy is that Bitcoin is something that accepts improvements. HEX is a finished product. So it's a different thing. You can't go to a HEX conference and then
so it'd be more okay to do it at a HEX conference. It'd be more okay then, because it's actually not changeable.
No, because I think that his motivation was to get privacy into Bitcoin. That's what I think. The guy was rich enough, dude. He had Bitcoin.
Why wasn't he telling everyone, including the experienced people?
Because Bitcoiners can be fuckwits, bro. Bitcoiners can be absolute. Look at how they handled it. They're fuckwits, man.
Dude, he should have had you as a lawyer, man. He should have had you as his defense counsel, and he would have never had to leave crypto. Dude, you're doing an amazing job of defending him. You are doing an amazing job of defending him. But
you know what was interesting? In his comment, because I picked it up, is
I just gained a lot from the guy.
He was talking about getting all your
coins
up. Did you hear what he said though in that little video you played? So he was talking about getting all your coins off exchanges and things like that, and he said so you can get your airdrops. So he was obviously a little bit more open-minded than most
like
Bitcoiners.
Forks and stuff. He didn't
sort of allude what he was talking to, but he said airdrops, whereas most maxis probably wouldn't drop that into the conversation. I wouldn't have thought.
Well, speaking of Bitcoin, today is Bitcoin's 14th birthday. Literally today.
Hey.
And its proof of keys was like done on the day that on.
Oh,
Bitcoin's
good point.
Birthday.
Yeah, good point. And no one did more. No one did more for proof of keys than Richard Hart. Or actually, maybe some could argue that Sam Bankman-Fried is maybe has overtaken the crown.
Yes,
for doing the most for proof of keys.
Unintentionally.
In a villainous way, like as in like he shouldn't be applauded for it, but as in if you're saying the person who caused the most proof of keys action, I think you could argue that FTX collapse actually did more than the HEX airdrop.
Yeah.
In time it will, you would think. I think we're gonna.
And that's-
There'll be another wave and another story where this happens again for sure.
It will
Because
definitely
people
happen again.
Oh yeah, that won't be the last exchange collapse. Definitely not.
No.
Definitely
Yeah,
not. That will not be the
Because
last time.
it's probably. I would argue that it's
Short
probably going
memories.
to get worse. I think it's going to get worse because what will happen is, this is the way I see it rolling out, is guys that have been into this space and have witnessed Mt. Gox. So all the guys that went through Mt. Gox were probably, well, I'm not putting my shit on any of these exchanges, but we've had a whole new wave of people come through that didn't experience that.
Mm-hmm.
Now they have. So in the next cycle, they will be less inclined to give up their keys. But there'll be a whole swag of new entries into the market, and so new retail entry. But then there'll also be a whole new swag of institutions and people starting up these centralized companies that probably already have a big customer base that will be promoting directly to their customer base once they have products in the industry. And all of those guys will flow onto their centralized offerings. So I think
I agree broadly with what you're saying, but I'll just make a small counter that where I'm hopeful is with Mt. Gox, because it affected such a small number of people total. Not everyone even directly knew a Mt. Gox victim / creditor, whereas this time there hopefully is a more broadly affected population, so that the folklore or the mythology of what happened will hopefully propagate better and stay being verbally spoken about within the crypto community, especially on Twitter and stuff like that, better than last time. But I do agree with you. This comes back to the problem I've always said, that because we are a fast expanding industry, the number of noobs stays high as a percentage of the total people in the so obviously more and more people are getting into crypto, but then there's just more and more noobs, and that won't stop. That ratio won't stop being high percentage noobs until we actually get to the part of the S curve that Richard keeps claiming that we're past. Like, and we actually get past that adoption S curve shit, which could take another 5 years.
Bitcoin's past the S curve.
It is not.
That's what. But no, I'm just. Hang on.
It is not. It is so not.
I'm not defending that point. I'm saying that's what he's saying. He's saying it's.
Oh yeah. Yes, he claims that. He claims that. Yeah, bro, I was actually rewatching a video that I did with Corey Costa where he interviewed me about my debate with Richard, because someone asked me about it. They were like, "Hey, where can I see this thing?" And I just sent them a link, and then I watched the interview, which I actually quite enjoyed because I didn't remember the whole interview. And one of the parts, Corey asked me a question. He's like, "Why do you think that Richard and you disagree on this particular thing?" It was that thing about the adoption S curve. And I said, well, this is going to sound harsh and biased, but it's because I'm using data to back up what I'm saying, and he is not. But yeah, it's like we're definitely not at the end of the fucking adoption S curve. Like it's not the case. Like, if you look at the stats of how many people are actually in crypto, it's so small.
But do you think the amount of people coming in, like most people when they were getting into the market for the previous decade, their first coin they ever brought was Bitcoin. Yep,
you could attempt to make that argument. You could attempt to make that argument. So, and if Richard framed it like that, I would be less aggressive at disagreeing with him. If he framed it as like, yeah, the Bitcoin adoption is not that high, but now it's being bypassed where people just basically go straight into shit coins and don't even touch Bitcoin. I think I would argue that is a more accurate way of arguing that point. Yeah, yes.
I would argue that Doge, SHIB, and probably SafeMoon were the ones that onboarded the most people into crypto this past cycle.
SHIB, yeah, yep.
Like nearly every new guy that knows nothing about crypto that wants to get into crypto has told me about SafeMoon.
Because it's the gains. Because people want the gains.
Yeah, that's right.
The gains, so that they'll come in. They'll be more likely to come in when they hear their mate turned $100 into $100,000 than knowing that Bitcoin gives you like censorship resistant storage and transfer. Like, you know what I mean? It's a more appealing entry narrative.
Yeah, I think T-Bird's he's got it on hit the nail on the head there. So S-curve adoption in BTC is at the end purely in the context of ROI.
Yeah, I mean, yeah,
Over
like
time,
as in,
over time.
I always thought that was.
I would
the
place that comment
argument that
between
Richard Hart
yours and
made.
Richard's.
I always
Like,
thought
I think
that
the
was
one Jex has
point.
said still the best is still the best one.
Mm.
The one about like
It gets watered
basically
down.
that BTC is being bypassed. Like,
Yeah.
So, do you guys think that Ethereum is going to drop? Because Ethereum's been pretty strong as far as like just price.
I still
Right,
vote
so I think-
HEX. I still vote HEX as first coin to flip Bitcoin before ETH. I still genuinely believe that to be the case. Especially now, there's been a lot of emergency end staking. There's been a lot of genuine end staking. So as we've gone through this bear market, the number of coins has increased. So now we actually don't need the price to
Daily
go
payouts.
as high as what it would have taken. Do you get what I'm saying? Like,
And
no,
the daily
remember,
payouts. The daily payouts
some of those
are
daily
increasing
payouts.
because of all-
Yeah, but some of those daily
because of the-
payouts, if they go to stakers, then that doesn't count towards the supply because the stake doesn't exist while it's locked. You know,
True. Yeah.
So it's only the two that I said. It was like emergency end stakes and actual and genuine end stakes that of people finishing their time that has increased the supply from what it was. I just think now. So now, remember we got HEX to number 3, right? I think we got all the way to number 3 or 4.
Yeah, that's what my comment was going to be. What are you basing it on? Like how? Because we were. You're
which
talking about you're doing a
cut market cap, just market cap.
Yes, so you're doing
To flip
purely
Bitcoin.
on raw total supply.
Yeah. Or however it's calculated on that one. Circular. However they're
should be
doing
on it should be on total. Well, they're not. That's the thing. Everyone's picking and choosing what they want. So
well, I use that. I use
Should be
that
on the Ether
site
scan.
called howtopulse.com/real market cap. Sorry, and that one it says real market cap with no crap, circulating supply times price.
okay,
So
you're doing on
I don't know how they. I don't see the calc that they're doing in the back end, but they claim that they're doing it legit. And at the moment, HEX is already number 8. So number 8 in front of Doge. And also there's 1, 2, 3 stable coins that are above us, Binance's coin and USD and USDC and USDT. So if you exclude those, we go from 8 to 5. So we've just got to overtake Ripple, BNB, ETH, and Bitcoin. I think that's very doable.
Yep.
And so people obviously think that ETH is eventually going to flip Bitcoin in terms of this rank.
Yep.
And it looks like it needs to do it would need to do kind of like a 2.5x with Bitcoin not moving at all. But they're so correlated these days that that's not going to happen, right? Like ETH is not going to do a 2.5x without.
This
Bitcoin
is HEX
moving at all.
on Etherscan. Yeah. So HEX on Etherscan, fully diluted market cap is 10.6 billion.
No, but fully diluted means all coins issued, right?
And then circulating supply market cap is 3.1 billion.
Oh, okay. It's got both. Oh, sick. Oh, wow. That's really good.
I didn't know you could do that there.
Oh, that's dope. I also didn't know you could do that. That's dope. Oh, then someone should have a site. Should have a site that fucking shows both. Well,
that's the problem. Everyone
sites.
They all manipulate it. Yeah, they all apply their own metrics. And justifications, which I can see why they do it.
Ultimately, we're kind of already number 2. If you were to exclude all the coins that are actually garbage, like if I was censoring the list, the way that HEX gets censored out of the list, I would have it. HEX would be one of the only coins that's in the list. It'd basically be like Bitcoin, HEX, and there'd be a few others in there. Everything else would be gone because it's all garbage.
Yeah, but you can't be
including Ethereum because that's government censorship coin now, and ETHW would still be in there, but that would obviously be a lower cap than HEX by quite a lot. I don't even know where the fuck that thing is.
I still want to know if wrapped Bitcoin that's on Ethereum has been deducted from the Bitcoin.
I don't think it has
market cap.
It's just showing separately.
Yeah, they show it separately.
Because that's equivalent to staked HEX, basically. It's gone. It's like not there.
Yeah, that's right. Well,
So you can't
but
have
it's still
both. You
easy.
can't have wrapped. No,
Yeah.
but you can't have
Yeah,
wrapped
it should be pushing
with the
into.
market
Yeah, you
cap
should. Yeah, I get
and
what
then
you're saying.
have
You should
there. So
subtract
you
it
just
off
got
it,
like
yeah.
all these.
Yeah.
It's not.
Yeah,
they're not real
man,
figures.
it's fucked. It's fucked. There's no,
Yeah.
there would be no. I think the reason why so many sites get away with manipulating and doing it and stuff, and that it's hard for anyone to say, "Yo, guys, what the fuck? You're doing it wrong. It's as simple as this." Is because there actually, for a lot of these things, there
There's
are
no
no simple
rules.
answers,
Yeah,
right?
there's no rules. There's no like
Especially when you have
standard.
these drastically different projects, right? Like one thing is like an algorithmic stable coin, and then something else is like completely different. Something else is DeFi. Something like these things are not even strictly comparable in essence. So let alone being able to come up with a way that you can correctly rank them when they're all doing different shit and everyone's trying to innovate. Even if you came up with something that covers everything, someone makes some new shit that doesn't fit. It's so I guess fuck it, whatever.
So actually, this might be a good segue. And I don't know whether you guys spoke about this last week. Obviously, I've been AWOL the last couple of weeks. So I left you guys to your own devices. And
I wasn't
to
here
myself
last week either.
I was going to say, we've lost fucking 30% off the price.
I was talking to myself last week.
Hex.
Yeah.
Shit.
No, I was joking, man. I said while I was gone over the last couple of weeks. Don't panic, man. Don't panic.
I'm fucking panicking. So
what I was going to say was I was going to bring it around to the doco, the Tom Gillespie one. I don't know if you've spoken.
Oh, I really enjoyed it. I thought it was good. I mean, look,
So
I'm biased. I'm biased because I'm in it, and
Yeah.
he did a good job of like not taking me out of context and choosing parts that I said where I sound reasonably competent and intelligent. So he definitely, on the spectrum of taking you out of context and making you look like an idiot and shit through to making you look like a god, he definitely did I think he did a reasonably fair representation of me. And I enjoyed the documentary overall. Like there was some stuff that was deliberately joking, like there was deliberate stuff that was where it wasn't meant to be serious.
Yeah.
So I think
that was most of the doco, wasn't it?
Yeah. Well, I mean, outside of the interviews, all of the stuff outside of the interviews where it's like scenes of him trying to find where he lives and stuff like that was basically all jokes. But the interviews where he was asking people questions, I think a lot of that was quite serious. Like,
you know what was really good?
What was the documentary?
Sorry.
Hang on, before we go on, like this is Tom Gillespie. He was talking about making a documentary for a couple of years. So now it's done and people can go and purchase it, right?
Yep.
They can go buy it. How much is it?
It turned into a 4-part series, but who cares?
Okay.
Like, it's still same shit. So it's like 4 1-hour episodes, I think. And it's called Hexicans
and how do you buy
and
it?
the Time Value of Money. You just
How
go
do
to the
you buy
website. You just go to the website and you
What's
can buy it.
what's the website?
I don't even know where the link is.
If you were to search the title that I just said and maybe the term BitJoin, I think they're the people that sponsor. They're like the producers.
Oh, right.
My only disappointment about that doco was I was really hoping that when it came to like, he did a thing where he's like, I'm going to make a stake, and then
Dorsey, can you post it? Oh, there we go.
Just put the link in. Yep.
He made a stake, and the idea was at the start and end of the documentary, he was going to show the performance of the stake. And I really would have liked for anyone who watches that doco to have seen that it made gains and it got fucked. It was a $5,000 stake and it ended up being worth like $600.
Hang on, so it's $25
even with interest.
$25, yeah.
I did buy it, but I can't remember how much it cost because I bought it.
Guys,
I prepaid for mine.
That's an absolute bargain. $25.
I think honestly,
and it's
I
a
think you should
documentary
support
that's
the guy.
dedicated.
Yeah.
I think we should support the guy. Absolutely. I mean,
he's put a
from
lot
my
of
understanding,
effort into it.
I haven't seen it.
I pre-purchased it. I bought it before it came out. There was an email that went out that was like, "Do you want to?"
I've heard that he like it's not a hatchet job or anything. He's done a legit.
No, it's great. No, it's
he's
legit.
done a legit there's a bit of comedy in it or whatever I've heard.
It's reasonably balanced. It's reasonably balanced. Like it's not obvious that he's taking a heavily pro or anti stance against the coin.
No, I think what he done is he was looking at the industry as a whole, and I think I haven't watched all of it yet, but as far as I've watched, he went to a couple of conferences, and he was interviewing. The one I liked in particular was the guy from Secret Network, but he interviewed a lot of different people, and there was, by and large, anyone that understood decentralization and the what they referred to as the spectrum of where the industry sits, anyone that understood a little bit about that from a technical perspective, didn't have anything negative to say about HEX. They didn't have anything positive to say about it, but it was very well balanced. The people that didn't really understand anything about how HEX works and things like that made a few sly comments. But some of the interviews he had, there's some really good information in there. Like the guy from Secret Network, I've got a new respect for him. He was definitely worth listening to. Very, very intelligent, and spoke. You could see his mindset on where the industry needs to go in terms of how we get to being decentralized and the importance of that.
Yeah.
I'm definitely keen to listen to more of what he's got to say and follow him and what he's doing. But I thought there was some really good content in there.
Yeah, he's got Eric Wall on there admitting that that a couple of things that he thought were not like great about HEX that he changed his mind on. Like you can like I've always said that Eric Wall, he might not get everything correct. He might not ever get everything correct about HEX, but I believe that he is being honest, that he's always saying what he genuinely believes. And you can tell in some of the things where he admits, where he's like, something that I thought was bullshit about HEX was this idea that that he thought that because you're not securing the network with the staking, that the staking was bullshit until someone explained this idea of virtual interest. And that
that's right.
You're
Virtual
lending,
lending,
you're lending the ability to sell, like you're lending higher prices theoretically to, and so he admitted, he was like, that's something I changed my mind about. So I think I may have actually been the only person on the doco that actually is featured in the part at the start where it's all the positive stuff about HEX, and then also at the end where it's like being critical of HEX. I think I'm the only person. So
I haven't seen your end part, but from what I've seen in the beginning,
episode 4,
you sounded very intelligent.
I'm interwoven with Eric Wall at the end, basically Eric Wall's parts at the end and mine, and I was like really proud of that. I was like, holy shit, Eric and I are fucking closing this thing down.
I think it was good. I think you've done a really good job, Tangent. It was awesome.
I just want to point out to the people in the chat who were saying, "Oh, we need to go get this for free." You don't need to go get it for free. Go pay for it. Right? This is good.
The guy, man.
The guy put in a lot of work.
Everyone chucked a bazillion dollars.
Someone said, "Send me the $20 and I'll send you the fucking link." I also saw Sammy in the comments saying that she also enjoyed the. Definitely don't pay someone else for it. Like,
Dorsey, delete the post.
Either pay the person who created it, or like if you're really that hard up, try and find a way to watch it. Look, this is my opinion. I think if enough time passes, he will actually release it for free. Like, I agree. Most people, they make it paid at the start, and then they want as many people to see their work, their effort as possible.
Exactly.
So
but you also want it to be
I think the ethical way to do it is either buy it or wait till it gets legally released for free. Is the way to go.
I guarantee if you want to see it for free, you can see it for free. That's not the point.
I do not condone people trying to watch this thing for free. I think people should pay for it, right? The guy put in work and
HEX dedicated, like a HEX dedicated.
And don't you want to make people putting effort into making good HEX content a lucrative thing? Don't you want to promote that? I mean, $25. Come on, guys. It's not.
And he also said that
it's like a breakfast on a Sunday morning.
When he heard that the highest of stakes was being made, he almost abandoned the project because he could see that their production quality was going to be a lot higher. And I'm glad he didn't, because highest of stakes is more likely to be very, even though it is technically not, but it's not, doesn't have to be biased. I think it will be pro HEX. Like, I'm expecting it to be. Actually, maybe we'll see a plot twist. Maybe
I'm expecting it to be like. I think.
You think it'll be balanced?
I think it's going to be contentious. I think there's going to be like,
Okay.
some people won't be happy. I've got a feeling.
Oh, good. That's
Really?
what we want.
Yeah, outside of
I
the
think
HEX
I think
community.
it's going to be whatever
No, I think
would
think 43
kick up
saying
the biggest
inside the
storm.
HEX community.
Yeah, I think it will
No.
be.
That's what I'm saying. The content in there, and when you hear about everyone talk about decentralization and things like that, and they couldn't say anything negative about HEX. Like, it actually really shines a light on what's going on in the industry and what's driven all of this. Why we're coming at it from this angle. So I thought it was you could not sit there and watch that and not at least start to have a, like, if you thought HEX was a scam and you watched that, if you came away from that and not rethinking your position on HEX and everything in the space, then you're probably being a little bit dishonest with yourself, I think.
Yep.
So, yeah, I thought, and it was entertaining as well. Like, he's a little bit of comedy in there was good to see.
And the thing that I think I like to do as a mental game is, when you're listening to people that disagree with you about a coin, being confident that you would be able to actually easily and effectively rebut the things that they're saying without just relying simply on like cliche shit or stuff that Richard has said.
Right,
Like, you know what I mean? Like, and being like, oh, this guy's a dumbass, he doesn't get HEX. Like, it's kind of a test for yourself to make sure that you would be able to actively defend HEX against some of these high-end, like these high-level criticisms.
Yeah, and I think I kept going back to this decentralization point because there was a bit of a narrative, at least in the second, I think it was either the second or the third episode that I watched, and they talk about the path to decentralization. So most things need to start off centralized, whether it's centralized consensus or ownership. They need to have an element of that at the beginning, and it's only over a period of time where you can start to, I guess, decentralize further and give up some of that protection that you get from the centralized component. Now, some projects, and I think IOTA is still one of those, that still has the coordinator sitting there in the middle, which is a massive centralized thing, but the whole network still runs and they're still going, and their plan is to phase it out. Well, I think that was about 4 years ago. Their plan was to phase it out. I still don't think they've done it. Yeah. So there's that sort of centralization, which is like maybe they've got a time horizon of 10 years. Who the hell knows? But every project or product has its path. Some are working on different timelines, and some are combating a technical centralization as opposed to an ownership centralization. So,
hey, Robert Breedlove actually raised in a recent podcast this idea of path dependence, saying that the order that something happens can be as impactful or as critical as what actually happens. And as an argument for Bitcoin, saying the simple example he gives is, if you have a shower and then dry yourself, you end up with a much different result from drying yourself then having a shower. Same two acts, but if you change the order, it's a completely different result. And he was basically saying that one of the arguments for Bitcoin is we cannot replicate that path ever again. So someone can create a similar or the same thing as what Bitcoin was, but it can never go through that same path because now people are aware of the idea. They're aware you can get rich off it. They're aware of what decentralization is. They're aware of the threat vectors. Whereas Bitcoin grew with the growth of threats against it. But coins that come out now, the threat vectors from nation states, regulatory threats, bad actors, hackers, all of those threats, so your coin would immediately come under fire from a set of threats that has grown over the last 14 years, and your coin would just get wrecked. So it was an interesting idea as to why. And I mean, look, HEX is largely protected from that because it didn't try to be its own chain, right? Like, it relies on it relied on the security of an established blockchain that did start when the threat vectors were smaller. So this is not a criticism of HEX, but it's just an interesting, it's an interesting idea. And I think maybe that's why ERC20s are so popular, is because you are
Yeah.
stepping straight onto something. You're launching something without having to actually start because now things that start their own chains, they just get wrecked. They just get,
Yeah.
they get 51%
Yeah.
attack. They get,
Yeah.
you know, just all sorts of,
But I think the Bitcoin community, they talk about this thing was like an immaculate conception, and that's bullshit. Bitcoin still had to have it. No, but it still had to have its
these
shower
things are
before it could
related
dry
though,
itself.
right?
Yeah. But Bitcoin still had to have a shower before it could dry itself.
But I think what they're saying is those steps that it took in those early stages, you can't do them now. Like the genie's out of the bottle. Like it's too late it's too late to launch a coin in an environment where no one expects it to be successful. Do you see what I'm saying? Like that was part of Bitcoin's defense in the early stages.
No one expects
was the fact that
successful.
Yeah, the fact that people didn't take it seriously. This is the Gandhi quote, right? Like first they ignore you. That like you can't do that anymore. Like you can't launch a coin and have years of being ignored, years of being laughed at, years of not being taken. That doesn't happen anymore. Everything gets taken with reasonable seriousness. So you can't do the Gandhi path with a new coin in the recent years. I'm steel manning the Bitcoiner argument.
Yeah.
It's just an interesting take.
Yeah, I would argue that.
What's your counter for that?
Well, I still think most projects are still going through exactly what Bitcoin went through, where they have to start off somewhat centralized, and then progress to the next phase. I think they do it at lightning speed and they do it in different approaches, but I think everyone's still got to take that path. There's no.
I agree with Jexer on this.
I see what you're saying.
But the opposition,
you're saying technically
within...
Bitcoin was centralized at the start because it was two dudes, like
exactly.
It was just one guy basically. It starts with one person.
One guy started with his miner, then another guy. So how fast
one miner and all the coins. Like so, technically,
all the opposition to Bitcoin came from outside the Bitcoin community because there was none to speak of. Right.
In fact, even the development, the code
with all the other cryptos, the opposition to these new cryptos comes from within the crypto community. They are the first to come in and attack. So new coins are released in crypto, and then other crypto communities go and attack it. It's not even like the outside.
Yeah. I mean, like I guess Bitcoin started fully centralized. The guy who wrote the code was also the 100% of the hash rate and also held 100% of the coins, and could rewrite the code, redeploy the XE, like as in it was literally one dude was everything, the creator. I guess the other argument is this whole like anonymity of the founder thing. Like that's quite a difficult argument actually, in terms of which again, the Bitcoiners do try to sort of like, they try to frame it as a way as like, if you had an Anon project now, then that's dog because you're too scared to stand by your shit. But it was okay back then because it wasn't known to be a cat. Like as in, they do have to do a little bit of gymnastics, like a little bit of mental gymnastics to justify like why it's different for Bitcoin. Do you know what I mean?
Yep.
So I do agree with roughly, like I do agree with roughly what you guys are saying. I think it's just interesting thought about these.
Yeah. So I guess my general comment was that is, you've got all these different communities. Everyone's got the same issues they've got to battle to get to this end point where we get the true decentralization that we want. Some will do it faster than others. Some will do it in a better way than others. But everyone should be working towards that path.
Yep.
And I think it's just a lot of people in glass houses throwing stones at each other at the moment. So
yeah,
then we've just got to move beyond that.
Shitting on Bitcoin is easy this week. With you guys heard what happened with Luke Dash Jr.
Yeah, I didn't quite understand the technicalities around it. So if you've got
same, I'm still trying to work it out. I panicked like fuck at first because I was like, does this mean that Bitcoin that I have lying around is not secure? But it looks more and more, I don't know for sure, but it looks like he didn't trust other manufacturers' hardware wallets. So he tried to create his own custody solution, which for someone that hardcore maybe is sometimes acceptable. Like if you are really that good, you might be able to come up with something.
Someone's got to create it, don't they?
Well, that's true. Yeah, good point. Good point. So like the founder of Trezor or whatever, you could say that person's hardcore enough to do his own shit. Good point. And so it looks like what he ultimately created was still more of a hot wallet than a cold wallet. Like more sort of, it was more like once you had access to his system, then you are able to just basically fucking send his Bitcoin. And that's how it, and so we don't know for sure yet, but it looks like his shit.
So this was
stolen.
code that he's made available for other people to use.
I don't think so. I think this was his own custom solution for himself. Yep. So it was like his own server, his own shit, and then someone fucking hacked it and took 3.5 mil worth of Bitcoin. So, I mean, look, I haven't heard of anyone with a hardware wallet getting legitimately hacked, aside from the ones where they just get socially engineered to hand over their fucking passphrase. Like, so if you, I haven't heard of a non-human error legitimate hack, except for like theoretical lab hacks, and typically all of those ones require physical access to the device, shit like that, and they're like very difficult, very theoretical. This is another good point, Ash. A lot of people in the community are saying that this might be the new version of a boating accident.
That's the first thing that I thought.
Oh my god, all my shit got stolen. But dude, bro. If you are that hardcore, you're one of the Bitcoin devs, your fucking Bitcoin's not going to be on book, dude. Your Bitcoin is not going to, if you are that early and that technically competent, you don't need to have a boating accident because your shit is not on the record. Your shit is not linked to your identity. If you didn't want it to be, it's already not. So that's the only reason why I think it's probably not the case here.
And I think reputational risk, you probably wouldn't want to.
Oh, and you not just reputational risk for yourself and for Bitcoin. Can you imagine? Can you imagine the negative press that gets? It's like one of the dudes who we're trusting to be the dev for the entire safety of the protocol can't even keep his own shit secure. Like that is I think if you're a true Bitcoiner, you wouldn't risk the rep of the entire Bitcoin network off you trying to, and look, 3.5 mil is not that much money for someone who's in that position, right? If you're a Bitcoin, if you're an early Bitcoiner. So I think for all of those reasons, I don't think this is a boating accident, but it's possible. It's still a plausible theory.
Yeah, I didn't.
Someone's
I didn't
saying
quite get
a Trojan from porn. Look,
could be.
I doubt it.
Again, this dude is like an elite level dev.
Yeah.
Like
as
so
if he's watching porn on the same.
Watching his on the same server that he's storing like 3.5 mil worth of BTC. But apparently his PGP key got compromised as well. Like as in that the hackers have access to his PGP key. So anything that he has signed, whether it's an email or a fucking like a release of code within the last few months, you can't trust. It's a big fuck up. It's an absolutely massive fuck up. So that stressed me out. And also it was kind of another one of these, like Richard Hart was right. Like, although Richard Hart never directly said, yo, I think one of the core devs will end up getting hacked. But he did say in broad strokes that these systems are not as hard coded and as infallible as what the Bitcoiners like to present to you. They make it sound like, oh, it definitely only ever be 21 million, and it's actually not tech. Like, you know, look, there's all sorts of reasons why you can justify why that is the case, game theory and like all of these other fucking like the different network participants and like all of this shit, but you can't just say it without those little footnotes of like, hey, look, this comment of that it'll only ever be 21 million does rely on the following assumptions. And there are a fair few assumptions there that are actually significant.
I don't know if we brought this up previously on this show, but I was listening to, what was his name? Peter McCormack. I'm trying to think who the guy was that he had on there. But they were saying,
was it another like Pomp or fucking?
That was someone
was it a Bitcoiner?
Oh, they always are. Well, most of them are. Yeah. Another Bitcoiner, but he was really honest. Like, it was really refreshing to hear him talk. Yeah, so because Peter made the comment that they'd much rather accept Bitcoin over the Lightning Network than use Visa because it's much faster and quicker and everything. And this guy's got, come on, man, you're talking shit now. Like he called him out on it. But they went through and having this conversation, and they made a comment about, there's a dirty little secret in the Bitcoin community that no one likes to talk about. Eventually, we're going to have to talk about it, and that was inflation. Like they may need to introduce inflation.
Nah,
obviously. Well, that's so. Apparently, you get shunned from the community if you bring it up, but
you've got the divisibility to handle.
No, I get that.
Why do you need inflation if you've got divisibility?
Yeah, I don't know how far they took that argument. I'd have to go back and rewatch it, but there was it might have been to do with if you want to be able to take on the world's supply or be a world currency, then you're probably going to need more supply coming to the market.
You can go sub-Satoshi with layer 2s. Like the Lightning Network already.
It actually might have been about security of the network, to be honest, if I'm thinking it through now. I think it was about the when you get to the point when it's only fees paying for the mining.
That block subsidy debate, I don't think so. I think fees will easily cover the fucking the mining incentive, especially if the price keeps going up. Like I don't think those things are a problem. Like in my opinion, but.
Yeah. So the reason why I brought it up, it was an interesting comment where they hang shit on HEX and other things for having an inflation component. But there's obviously some concern or it's a topic of discussion probably behind closed doors.
I certainly don't have a problem with HEX's inflation on any coin having as long as the monetary policy is fixed and honestly presented is my only thing. The reason I don't think Bitcoiners would ever accept this idea of changing any shit for any reason is that's their biggest narrative. Yeah. Their biggest narrative is fixed monetary policy. So if they start fucking with it, they're binning. We were talking about like HEX narratives and which ones are still intact, which ones have been wrecked and shit like that. You don't want your biggest narratives, like your biggest narrative to get wrecked. So, it's I guess it's hard to.
I think that's the elephant in the room is there may be a need for it, but no one wants to bring it up. But yeah, so
speaking of monetary policy, have you guys noticed that the daily payouts for HEX have been going up ever since there are all these end stakes? So we are comfortably above. We're comfortably above like 6 HEX per t-shirt now.
But doesn't that mean that there has to be people? Because it doesn't say if someone emergency end stakes, all of that goes into that day's payout, right? So does that mean people are emergency end staking every single day to keep that number high, or
no? Just end stakes push up the daily amount as well because now there's more supply upon which the calculation is made.
Less dilution of the share pool. It's just those shares being removed from the pool. So it's not the penalty. It's not the penalties getting redistributed because that only impacts that one day. This ongoing increase is from the shares being permanently removed because those emergency end stakers, they're removing their shares from the pool and then they're not coming back in, obviously, because otherwise
the amount of minted HEX that are in existence. The amount of minted HEX that are now in existence has increased since that end stake has happened. So the calculation that is made.
Sorry, which one was this? I've been asleep for the last couple of weeks. So what are we talking about?
So he's talking about just on hex.com has I think or go.hex.com should have.
I like to go to apphex.win/charts. It's got like a chart of daily payout, and you can see that it's trending upwards in the last while. So people who are staked are getting more now than they were like a few months ago on a daily basis.
Fuck yeah.
They're just getting more.
Fuck yeah. Oh, that's sick.
Yeah. And that's the beauty of the system. And that is the beauty of the HEX system, because when prices are down, right, and there's FUD and there's fear, people are more likely to like emergency end stake
Yeah,
and want to
so
get
yeah.
out of their position. And what that does is that pays everyone who's staying in the system more. So it's this autocorrect that happens in the HEX contract. It's brilliant. It really is brilliant the way it plays out. It's playing out the way it should be.
The way God intended. This is sick. Thank you for reminding me about this site. I noticed I do have it bookmarked, but I've rarely come to it, and that's actually sick.
Can we bring it up on screen?
Because actually on go.hex.com, you have to connect your wallet to see the fucking charts and shit. Whereas this one, you can just look at it without having to have a shit connected to it.
If you have it on screen, Tangent, can you?
Yeah, I do.
share
Yeah,
it?
sure. Can you see that?
Yep.
I'll just make this a bit wider. Oh, am I frozen?
Yeah, I've noticed whenever I was sharing stuff last time I was on stream, I would get frozen. I think it's just a bit of a glitch with the restream.
Let's see if
I can still hear you guys, but my shit is locked up.
Yeah, I noticed that was happening to me once, a couple of sessions.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's saying. Oh, okay. We're back, and we're back. Okay, sick. So yeah, so this is it here. So yeah, T-share rate all on the increase. Although T-share rate in dollar terms is cheap at the moment. I think it's under $500 or some shit for a T-share. This is your daily payout graph here, and so now you've got. They've got a PulseChain payout on here. This must be testnet.
You can turn off the
testnet?
PulseChain component down in the left-hand corner of that. If you click on where it says PulseChain.
Oh yeah, here we go. Is that testnet? Is it? Obviously.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. So this is the payout here, and like you said, here
It's
was where
up.
it was basically fluffing that $6 6 hex line. It was basically riding the shit out of it, and then it is just like slowly lifted off. And so there must have been some big EES on here. What were these big ones here? There was this one here of 13, and then this one was like 10 point something, was it?
The 13 one was that
10.8.
When was that from? 10.8.
So that I think they were like those big ones that, you know, people were tweeting about that shit.
Have a look at
I tweeted about that shark dumper address thing being like, thank fuck. Like someone said he's almost run out, or he has run out of hex, and I was like, thank fuck. And
it's another one.
Someone replied to me being like, oh yeah, all good, man. Just another like fucking 40 fucking sharks and 800 dolphins to go, and then we can fucking go back up. And I was just like, fuck.
I think there's just a few rogue guys, and some of them, like, they're just panic selling as well.
Good. Excellent.
This one was interesting because the guy doxed himself and told his whole story why he was doing it, more or less. So that was.
Look at this chart down the bottom. Can you guys see this? There's quite a lot of stakes ending over the next, like during this year.
But that's the rolling. That's always like that, because there are people who do their rolling stakes for like a month, 2 months, 3 months. So there's always like an accumulation of stakes in the foreseeable future. But a lot of that stuff gets restaked, and just a little bit of interest is.
Yeah. Sorry. I was comparing it to back here, but this is smart the way they've created this chart. Once the time goes past that date, it only shows the ones that haven't ended. So it doesn't historically show how many people were staked to that day. It only shows the people who haven't pulled their shit out. So the reason this looks like low numbers and low amounts of spikes and stuff is because it's only people who have left their shit in the share pool, like late stakes. So you can only compare it moving forward. You're absolutely right. This is short-term staking is always going to make this look more vibrant in this near shit.
Yeah.
Yep.
And those people are just people who are skimming off the top. a lot of them. So they're restaking a lot of what they have. But there's a beauty in that as well, because the people who are doing that are losing staking ability as they do that.
They're losing T-shares. Yeah, they're losing T-shares.
Yeah, every time they restake, they're losing to maintain their T-shares. They either have to stake a bit longer, or they just have to lose a bit of T-shares.
They're effectively positioning themselves between people who are staying fully liquid and not staking at all, and people who are staking long term. It's a halfway house where they're getting some they're not getting as much yield as someone staking long, but they're getting more yield than someone who's literally just holding a liquid bag. So and they're also getting, so they're getting,
and those camps are not mutually,
they're getting less, they're getting part of the yield, but they're also getting part of the flexibility and the ability to sell if they need to. Like, so it's a compromise that I think is quite reasonable. Like, you know what I mean?
And they're not mutually exclusive camps to be in. Like, you can be a long-term staker and also have short-term rolling stakes if that's so. Jexy, you sent me a link. Should I bring this link up on the screen?
Have a quick look and see if it's.
Have you finished, Tangent?
Have we finished with this? This one's T-share rate, and that one's. This is actually something interesting that someone mentioned. I think it might have been KDP, or someone else made a tweet that said, I look at the HEX metrics every day and everything is always increasing. So you can see this is just one of them, right? This is current stakers.
Except the price.
Except So these are non-price. No, that's fair call, man. That's fair call. Like, it's a fair clarification because the price has been garbage. So we're talking like, but for non-price metrics, they've all been going up. So that's called a divergence, right? Like, when the price is going down, but all the fundamental metrics have been going up over that same period every damn day. Price has been going down every day for a year. Metrics have been going up every day. What kind of slingshot would that create in divergence? Like, that has to be massive, right?
Yeah.
So
it'd be interesting to compare that with other, like ETH and Bitcoin, and see how they're trending over the same period.
Man, the beauty. I just want to talk about the daily payout again. I want to talk about the daily payout. How beautiful this is. Am I on delay? I think I'm on delay.
So we've got mad delay, man. We do keep talking over the top.
We've got mad delay. Yeah. I apologize for that, guys. My internet may not be great. But I just want to point out this daily payout. The way the system works is so good, because your daily payout now, most likely you're going to have a higher daily payout for your T-shares in future. You know, like in 2 or 3 years' time, the daily payout on average is going to be higher than it is now. If the system, I mean, it is the system changes depending on how many people are staked, obviously. But if we're around that 10% stake mark, it's going to keep going up, right? It's going to keep going up if we maintain. The only way it would go down if more people stake, because then it needs to get divided amongst more people. But it'd have to be a sizable increase.
You'd hope that price would go up as well.
As long as there's a distribution from large holders to smaller holders, as long as that's the distribution that's going on, and those smaller holders are staking, then I expect that we're going to see an increase.
What's going to be interesting as well is the price of a T-share in dollar terms. So just looking at HEX daily. Yeah, so I'm just looking at HEX daily stats. So when we got our highest price per T-share, it was $9,000 US. So that was obviously that was at 48 at 48 cents. But the T-share rate was only 18,000. So when we get back around to,
and now we're 24,000.
I think it's 25, isn't it?
25,400.
Yeah. So that price of a T-share, when we get back to,
that's a 40% increase. A 40% increase in T-share rate.
That's what's going to be what shocks people, is by the time we come back around, this price has been going down. So the cost of a T-share has been going down. But when that flips, that's going to be on steroids coming on the way back up. And what that means is, let's say we get back to 48 cents and the T-share rate's gone up massively, when new entrants to the market want to come in, or if existing people want to come in and buy T-shares, it's going to be hell expensive. So if T-shares are expensive, the amount of
In the
capital
next
you
bull,
need
yeah,
to
fuck yeah.
the amount of capital you need to put in to get these T-shares is going to be immense. So it means
It's
there
gonna
is
be B
all
shares.
yeah, there's going to be a lot less T-shares. So to
M
pay up,
shares, yeah. Or
Yeah,
B
so
shares,
you
sorry,
pay
you're
up-
right, B shares.
so your dollar pay up or your HEX pay up per T-shares it's going to grow quite a lot because the sheer amount of capital someone has to inject to try and get a position, it's going to
So
be
it's
prohibitive.
460 USD for a T-share right now.
Yes, I knew it was under 500. Fuck yeah.
Mm.
Hey,
However,
Jexa, just to answer
460
your
460 divided by 3 is how you work out if you do a max length stake or a 10-year stake. So 460 divided by 3, you can get a T-share for as little as $153.33. That is if you stake for at least 10 years. And the
yeah,
maths
of course.
change.
The price varies depending on how much, like the size and length of your stake. That's true.
Mm.
Yeah.
I wonder if you did it for a 1-year stake, if you just did a 1-year stake with some like reasonable amount that someone might be entering with, like $1,000 or something, whether if you're staking $1,000 of HEX for 1 year, I wonder what it would cost to wait. Sorry, no, I guess you don't do that.
Probably
as
get
an
about
input,
3
do you?
T-shares, 2 to 3 T-shares. You'd get 2 point something T-shares for that if you did a 1-year stake. Because
Yeah, sorry, I meant to ask that the other way around. I shouldn't have had the amount of HEX as the input. That's the output. You want to know how much it costs. How much it would cost to get 1 T-share if you're only willing to stake for 1 year is how I should have posed the question. And it'll be something like maybe just somewhere between $500 and $600 or something.
Currently?
Let me work it out.
Have you got a calculator with you there? Have you got a T-share calculator?
383. $383.
That can't be right. That's less expensive than doing it for the average length.
Is it?
20%.
Didn't we just say it was like $420 for a 10-year? It should be more expensive to try and get the same amount of T-shirts.
It's $153. It's $153 for a 10-year.
Dude, that's basically free. I'm joking. That is cheap though. Holy shit, that's cheap.
Yeah, T-shirts.
So what was the one?
wait.
What was the length for the one that you said was 400 and whatever?
That's 1 day, 1 day stake
Oh, a day. Oh my god! So you can get a T-share
for a day.
under $500, even at the minimum length. Holy crap! Holy crap, dude! Oh my god, I want to cry.
I think I'm right. I think I'm working it out right.
You're probably
I could be wrong.
right. You're probably right because the price is wrecked, man. The price is fucked.
Yeah.
Hey, speaking of the price being fucked, I don't know if you guys saw, but Orca made a tweet where I don't know. You guys know Ray Dalio, right? You'll know him by name. Ray Dalio did this thing in his company in his hedge fund or whatever, where anyone in the company could grade anyone else for anything, right? So an intern could grade Ray Dalio for his performance at speaking in a meeting and actually give them a grade as long as they justified why they gave them the grade, right? And he uses the story of how some like basically new to the company fucking university grad scored him a D for a meeting that he held, right? Like now, I don't think anyone would legitimately have the balls to do that. I don't know whether this person was doing it for the lols or thought that they would just do it to get attention or whatever. But that's the story that he tells, and that to try and make it like an idea meritocracy. So Orca graded Richard Hart an F for his performance in 2022. And I just found some of the reply comments to be interesting, and I found that shit. I don't think Richard himself replied, but I thought I would ask you guys, obviously Orca's the person who facilitated me to be able to debate Richard Hart. It may not have ever happened if it hadn't been for Orca creating that environment where he had control over who could speak within that spaces and allowed me to jump the queue and also create it so that effectively you know, not we didn't ambush Richard, but as in he created that space for me to be able to debate Richard. And while he was a Hex maxi, I was a big fan of his. I enjoyed streaming with him on other people's streams, including Steak and Bake. And I also very much enjoyed when he jokingly or half jokingly decided to flip into being a Bitcoin maxi for a period of time, just either for the lols or just to prove that he could do it better than actual Bitcoin maxis. And I was like very impressed in his ability to present himself as a maxi. He actually smashed most actual Bitcoin maxis in terms of bringing really good arguments to the table and supporting Bitcoin, right? So got a lot of respect for the guy generally. Obviously, at some point he bailed from Hex. It was around the time that Richard unfollowed him. I don't know what the causation was, like whether it was Richard unfollowing him that made him kind of like rage quit Hex, or whether he had already kind of like drifted away from Hex and that's why Richard unfollowed him. Who knows, right? Or it could be they could have sort of like happened simultaneously. But what are your thoughts on this tweet?
Can you bring it up?
Yeah, I haven't.
Oh,
seen
okay.
that.
I can pull it up, but basically, I told you what's in it. Like that he
So
basically just said Richard Hart's performance in 2022 graded F.
I would flip that. I would say Hex performance in 2022 rated F. Richard Hart's been just doing his regular thing.
No, he did. He's changed
comment.
tact. He has changed tact and he's gone hard on the outrage stuff. So that's
you guys know what I think about the outrage marketing, right? You know my stance on why I think he does it. I think he's planting seeds for the bull market, because when you outrage market, people take notice. They see it, even if it's for a glimpse, and they see, this guy looks whatever, right? But they notice, they take notice for that split
sticks
second,
in their mind.
and then that's planting a seed for the bull run when Hex, we hope does really well. And then when Hex does really well, that's what I think it is, dude. I think it's like, I know people don't like it because it's not an immediate, like there's no immediate payback, there's no immediate ROI on it. But also, I really believe that it's a
link to be strong, man. Because I noticed that when he was doing the watch collection in the early days, whenever he would show photos of the watch cabinets, he would always have that Hex diamond encrusted Hex logo that he got gifted by Hex Toys in the shot. So it would have all these really expensive Rolexes and then a Hex logo in the shot. But when he dresses up in these Gucci outfits, there's not a Hex logo to be seen. So maybe if it was actually linkable and identifiable, that Hex was still in the actual, so that when people see him wearing,
it doesn't need to be. It needs to be at later point when they go in to check out this guy doing some outrageous shit later on.
But
like it only needs. It doesn't need to be linkable
that it was to
now.
seed the idea. So then they're like, hang on a second, Hex is that coin that.
It's not even the idea. It's just they recognized him. It's just a point of recognition, and then later on you can make that link with Hex later on. Like when
I just think it'd be good. I just think it'd be good if it was more direct. Like I think it's, and so that it's just undeniable having like shit in the shot every time. Like I think it's just attention is obviously the.
Can we at least agree? Can we agree on this? Right? Can we agree that if in the next bull run, whenever that may be, Hex does amazing things, can we agree that Richard Hart's tactics have worked?
No,
and not only that,
you can't just say it's because of that.
No, because that could just be the bull market.
So we all know why. We all know why he's doing it.
Do you agree it's better than not doing anything? Like him not doing anything?
Okay, I'll just why he may have got graded an F though. If you just hear me out on this one, so yes, he's out there trying to get attention. Yeah, you got to do it somehow. You got to break through the wall of other shit going on there. You got to cut through somehow. So I get why he's done that. Possibly where he messed up was in the midst of everything imploding in crypto. He had the chance to win over more crypto bros and probably just tackled that a little. He was still doing the outrage stuff on all those crypto bros that he probably could have won a few internal votes
pivoted
there.
them. Yeah. Pivoted
just a little bit. Like all he had to do was just tone it down for on those captive Twitter spaces and things like that. But I think out of the Twitter spaces, I think he's still done very, very well and shone through. And people that were willing to listen came through. Where it probably for people like Orca and ourselves as well, we can see why they're doing our age marketing. But do I like that persona of Richard? Hell no. I think it's cringe and it's not.
And also price is the ultimate metric, right? Like, as in, to me, the price is the thing that matters the most. That's in Richard's own words as well. He said that earlier. He's like, price is king when it happens to this shit. And the outrage marketing doesn't seem to help the fucking price. The price got wrecked. Like,
no.
So
that's right. Yeah.
So his follower count went up, but I don't care about his follower count as much as I care about the fucking price. So
that's like swimming against a rick. It's like swimming against a rick.
I think it's not his fault. It's not his fault. It's not his fault.
Unrealistic.
I just don't think it was that as effective as like.
I think it's unrealistic to think that any form of marketing in a crypto winter is going to make prices go up. Like, it's just unrealistic, right? So I think the whole planting a seed for the next
Richard Hart was right shit was going to work. I genuinely thought that
it all works a little bit.
When the Hexicans had all the receipts of Richard being right about all this stuff, calling FTX, BlockFi, Celsius, all this shit, like with literally named in these clips that were going basically viral throughout Twitter, I genuinely thought that was going to make the Hex price go up, and it did absolutely fuck all. That I thought that was the best shot we had. No. It did literally.
But it's not about that. That's not about price. That's like Day 43 says. This is a longer game he's playing. But I thought. But no, this is nothing to do with Richard. This is nothing to. Oh, I mean, it's to do with Richard in the sense that it was the videos of him. But I actually thought that people would be like, I need to get some of this Hex. Like, this guy's actually right. I'm gonna just out of respect for how right he was. Wouldn't you think that would bring some economic energy to the coin? If you're watching a chart go like that, why do you want to be piling onto anything? Anyone that's been in this, that's why I've always said the price is the best advertisement, and this whole idea that Richard himself said about it being reflexive, and that we need the price to go up for the price to go up, and anything else that anyone else says about how they want the price to go down is fucking cope. That we need the price to turn around and go up for it to go up. It needs to go up for it to go up.
Absolutely, but it needs to botch. It needs to, and we might have seen the bottom. We don't know. I don't know. I have no.
It doesn't look like it.
Yeah.
The chart still looks
like
garbage,
buying all the way down.
But,
I've been buying all the way down.
I have as well.
So I've been dollar cost the whole way. So, and I'm not saying that that's the way for anyone else to do it. I don't know. That's the way I did it.
You got to understand, he may have been right and people may be listening to him, but that doesn't translate into a buy for two reasons. One, they're probably shell-shocked, or they've done their dough on this shit that has exploded.
Run out of money, that's one.
Interest rates have been going up, man. Interest rates have been going up over the last year. So people's disposable incomes are now no longer disposable.
That's right.
That comes under the same. That comes under that first category that Jexa said, though. That's not having the money to be able to invest is all within that. Category.
So you've got to reset the clock a little bit because you got wiped out, or you've got to look after your family
for whatever reason you don't have the capital to throw in. Yep.
And the next thing is, if you've been in the space for a cycle or more, then you're not loading the boat now. Yeah, you might DCA in, but you're not going hard. You're waiting to see some sort of bottoming, and that's when you'll go hard. Like you once you start to see things macro change and things in the in crypto charts start to change in general, then you may be following in now, and your plan is to he's on your shopping list for when the market turns around, and that's when you'll see probably the benefit of all of that, picking up the extra followers. So just got to be patient with this sort of stuff. We've got a little way to go still. A little bit of a rough ride, just in general, like in terms of the world economy.
I guess my thing is, and I know that sometimes it sounds like I'm on either side of this, so it sounds like I maybe contradict myself sometimes, but I do get disappointed that we could have been the shining city on the hill. Like we could have been the one crypto that didn't get fucked. Like that could have happened.
Could have.
That was literally, that narrative could have stayed intact. It was very doable. It was like, it was, I don't think we were, and I think because of the low liquidity, it looks like we're far away from that narrative. Like, oh bro, like there's no way we could have done that because we're like 20x lower than what it, or like 10x lower than maintaining that narrative. But in dollar terms, I actually don't think we're that far away from having maintained that narrative. And it's just sad that it's just sad that for an amount of money that would be fuck all to most whales, that we had to just lose a few of those narratives that could have been kept intact.
Yeah, but you can't, like, you try and find an asset that's massively overperformed in this current environment.
But HEX is the first time that we've had the locking shit ever in all of human history. But like genuine lock. You can't look at things in isolation though. People lose their jobs. They do this. But even in relative terms, like you can't even mount the argument that we performed well in relative terms either.
Oh, I don't think we did.
This is not. So I'm not looking at it in isolation and ignoring the macro, or other assets or whatever. I'm not doing that. Even within that context, it still did not perform how I expected. So
yeah.
I guess I just would have liked the lock to have done something.
I agree with you. I had the same idea tangent that I thought the lock would do more for the downside price
resistance.
Action. However, now that I've seen the reality of what's happened, I believe that the locking, what it does is it just makes sure that you don't sell get
your paper hands.
Oh, so it only helps on a personal level, not on a network level.
Yeah, it doesn't help on a price.
Good point. Good point.
Just helps.
That's probably fair.
Have paper hands.
It gives you an incentive not to dump, like because you get penalized for unstaking and dumping.
Yep. Yeah.
So people won't. So then people realize the benefit of that and say thank you until we're in the next bull cycle where they'll be like, thank fuck, I didn't dump these coins.
Until the outrage market is finally paying an ROI.
Yeah.
That's actually a really good comment that I have not heard anyone else say. I think that's a really good point. That it's the lock helps on a personal level, not on a network level.
Yep. Guys, I've really got to run. I was only going to hang around for an hour, but I was enjoying the chat. But I do need to bounce now. I've got a couple of things I've got to do. So thanks.
Very good. For joining. Good to see you, Jexo. Happy New Year.
Yeah. Did you want to tell me quickly what this was about? What I have to click on here so we can have a look at it?
So if you go to charts on the side there, and then he's got one for the daily payouts. Daily payout per T-share. So for anyone, I noticed Finbear had mentioned this site as well in the comments. So if you haven't been checking out HEXFire, Crispy's put so much work into this. There's an absolute ton of information in here. But this one just shows you that it shows you the increasing payouts a little bit clearer. I think it's a little bit more emphasized. So getting there.
Oh, dude, that's sick.
Yeah, but there is just so much data in there. And Finbear, he made a comment. I haven't checked out this thing. What did he say? Let's dig it up.
It's even got shit for Maximus and Hedron and Arcosa and shit in here.
Just wait until you see the yearly HEX financial report Crispy has done. It's amazing. So I don't know where to find that. I haven't checked it out, but I'll go back and.
Yeah, we are well above 6 now, like average 6.2 to 6.5. Like look at like we actually got a 6.67.
So what I think, so when you'll see this drastically change is when the dollar value to get a T-share goes up. So that's what I'm saying. When they become rare in terms of injecting capital into this, it gets rarer and rarer, then it means, and as stakes end, obviously, then that payout should ramp up pretty quick.
Cool. I like this site. Someone brought it up last week. Cool site.
Yeah. There's a lot of. I haven't spent enough time on it digging around, but he's put a lot of time and energy into it. So.
Is there anything you want to say, Jexa, before you duck out?
No, I just think it's good to start off a new fresh year. Let all the shit that's happened in the last couple of years go by the wayside. We had a lot of good stuff. We had a little bit of shit to deal with last year. Be nice to have a fresh start this year, and hopefully we love to see a Q1 release of PulseChain. I think that would be
please.
That would be a massive injection in terms of enthusiasm and just good vibes into the community. So I'd love to see that. There is just so much that's waiting in the wings to run on our own chain when we get it up, that it's going to be, people are just going to be blown away. They think the HEX community's just totally focused on this HEX thing. They know a little bit about Pulse, but they probably have no idea the amount of stuff that's been built over the past year for PulseChain. So it's going to be, if that doesn't give everyone a good bit of energy and enthusiasm and drive us forward, then I don't know what it's going to take. But I'm hoping that will be the catalyst for just a good positive swing around in the terms of the sentiment in the community.
Hell yes.
So I'm looking forward to a good year.
All it takes is for the price to go up a bit, and then sentiment turns positive.
Oh yeah. And if you've got something like that happening, we've got so many cool things that we can play with now, with everything that Alex has done and the Maximus guys have done, and then all these other new things with what Famous has done, what Buck's up to. There's just so many things that we've got at our fingertips. So really looking forward to
price up makes price go up.
Oh yeah, definitely. But that's probably all I've got to add for tonight. But good to get on and chat with you guys. And I might go missing next week. Might be on holidays again next week. But I'll jump on whenever I can.
Bro, you're always on holidays.
This year, I will always be on holidays. I've got a lot planned this year.
Nice.
Yeah.
This site is really good, man. Love it.
Yeah, it is good. Yeah.
It's really
guys.
good.
Bye for now.
See you, Jexa.
See you, mate.
I was just going to say, I was looking at this page here with the Maximus DAO, all the different HEX stakes that you can buy liquid. And I was looking to see whether they've got like the premium calcs, and they do have a line for it down the bottom here, but it looks like most of them don't show up. And I'm not sure if these ones have been calculated correctly. It's like 100% and 94%. I don't think that's right. Oh, I think 100% would be that there's no premium. And so so it's saying Maximus is 8% over and Lucky is 6% under. And then unfortunately the other three don't show, the premiums are not showing up.
So Lucky's on a discount. Lucky's on discount.
So Lucky's on a discount by just under 6%. So it's like 5.65% or whatever. And obviously these things change like second by second. And the other thing I was going to say, it'd be good if they had the HEX price to more decimal points, because this is saying that it's 2 cents, but obviously at the moment I think it's actually like 1.8 or something like that. So that would be my only comments. But other than that, it's got such sick stats, like all of this stuff here. You can see this is so cool. And then I haven't looked at this next tab here for Hedron and Icosa. Oh, very cool. Oh, look, it's got those deviating curves of like ceiling prices for Icosa. Huh. That's cool. So yeah, shit. That's cool. But yeah, so
awesome
I did not know about this site. I did not know about this site. That's actually very, very cool.
I'd heard about it, and then last week, I forget who was saying it. Might have been Ash. Might have been Ash who was saying it, to go check it out.
What's this big ass arrow here? Click here to follow link.
Are you on home?
Yeah. Huh. Oh, I think it's basically just saying you can like click on the chart. Oh, yeah, you can click on the chart and then it loads up all the stats for that date, I guess, maybe. Oh, no, that's still today's date. Huh. So, yeah, shit, yeah. So I guess like that's all good. Obviously, I don't like seeing the HEX price this low. But despite things that I've said during this stream that might sound like I'm bearish, I'm actually bullish. Like I do think the bottom is either in or close. Like, and I know we've been saying that, or a lot. I don't mean we as in the people on the show. I mean we as in the broader crypto community has been saying shit like that for a while as we grind the bottom. And I think that
I think it's hard to say, man. I'd love to see the bottom in. We could do a bump and run for a while. It's hard to say because the macro is so like it's not like the macro is so unique right now compared to how it's been. And there's a lot of people out there talking about a pivot, like the Fed pivot and all of this, but who knows?
Including Richard.
But who knows what's going to happen? Like we don't know what's going to happen. There's definitely uncertainty.
I guess
there's fear, there's uncertainty. And
when I hear other people's takes, like, so sometimes it's hard to come up with a prediction because obviously most of the time people are wrong. Like, as in it's especially with crypto.
Yep.
But often what I do is I hear other people make their predictions and then I think sort of like, to what percentage do I agree with that person? And one that I heard recently, someone said, if we take another leg down, it should be the last. And I agree with that.
Down to what?
It's either grind sideways and we're at the bottom, but we just keep grinding sideways, or we start the journey back up, or we take one more leg down and then that's the bottom.
How far down?
And that would be in line. Well, that would be in line with the whole like Richard's prediction going down. I still don't think we'll go down that low. But I've been wrong. I've been wrong for the late stage of this bear market in terms of how low. I didn't think HEX would go under 3 cents. Well, hell, I didn't even think it would go under 10 cents. So I've been in disbelief about the HEX price basically from 10 cents down and keep refusing to believe that it can go any lower just because it's HEX.
Yet it seems to defy what we think will happen.
Defy the laws of logic. But with Bitcoin, I think 15, 15, I would say 15. I would be surprised to see it much below somewhere, let's say between 14 and 15. I would be really surprised to see Bitcoin lower than that. And I mean, I think that's a good buy. Like, I think people would step in to start buying it. People who believe in Bitcoin would start to buy it around those levels, even if they are in like pain or whatever, you know. I heard that Robert Kiyosaki is buying Bitcoin quite aggressively. He's the author of Rich Dad Poor Dad. Really likes Bitcoin, buying it very aggressively. And Andrew Tate is on the buy Bitcoin wagon. I think he pretty much says Bitcoin and ETH is his recommendations of what to buy.
I still think ETH can go down, man. I think ETH can go down. It's like
they all can. Like, yeah, they all can.
No, but I just think I could see ETH sitting around 1,200. I don't know, obviously, but I could easily see ETH.
You reckon 800? You reckon 800?
I reckon high sixes, 680, 700.
Oh, bro.
I think we could see that, man.
Oh, man, that hurts in my nuts. Like thinking about ETH at 600. Fuck,
dude, not as bad as
more
the HEX price hurts in my
nuts. Bro, the HEX price has been such a kick in the balls, man. The HEX price has been such a fucking kick in the balls. Like, every day I wake up and hope that I'm going to look at my screen and see like this massive like 2x pump in a single candle, like HEX like fucking double the price back to 3 cents or 3.5 cents or something, which is very plausible. Like, that could absolutely happen.
Yeah.
And every day that it doesn't happen, it just takes the wind out of me, man. But like, obviously, I just,
I wouldn't be
just-
surprised if we see a bump and run until we get news on a PulseChain launch. I think I don't see any relief because macro is so shitty. Just there's no where's the money coming from? Who's putting money in?
Would you agree with this statement? I just thought of this as like a comment. All the whales in HEX or outside of HEX that have the ability to buy a shitload of this thing and actually get the momentum shifting so that the price is going up must not agree with me about this idea that the price going up will lead to the price going up. Like a sustained upward price movement. So none of this just like quick little pump that gets smacked back down. That's actually worse, by the way. I would rather the price go sideways or drift down than these because when the price pumps and then just gets smacked back down, it actually just proves bearishness. That's super weak when that happens. So I would rather the price not pump unless it's going to be sustained, as in terms of the overall sentiment towards the coin. But there are people out there that could turn this thing around.
I agree with that.
And so they must not have the same faith in that narrative as me, and others who believe that price up. And Richard believes it as well. But these other whales must not believe in this idea of reflexivity, that price up makes price go up. Do you know what I mean? So
I think
there was a period that people said that the God whale bought around I think in the teens and pushed the price up, and then it just got fucking wrecked again.
But the wider market sentiment has to be more positive. The wider market sentiment has to be more positive.
Oh yeah, I have heard you say that in the past. But does it really though?
I think so.
With an asset this illiquid, can't it just do its own thing? As in, I do believe one of my hopes.
Then you've got people in the
crypto,
game who might need money, and then they're going to sell out the second it pumps a little bit.
So
people holding liquid,
but that would only matter if those people were anywhere near the scale of that whale, right? As long as those people were orders of magnitude smaller, then it shouldn't fucking matter.
And as a proportion of people invested in HEX, as time goes on, that's going to be less and less. It's going to be less and less because the bigger players seem to how many of from what I see, there are less sharks, there are less dolphins, there's just less and less of these accounts from what I've seen over the last 2 years. There were more 2 years ago than there are now. So that seems to be.
Do you mean number of dolphins in general, or number of dolphins that are dumping the fucking price?
No, just number of dolphins in existence. Okay. So there are less people holding that number of T-shares. They've dropped off. Yeah, and also,
which you were saying is good for wealth redistribution, it's good for coin distribution. I mean, T-share distribution.
There's also less people there's also less at the higher levels. So it's not just they're dropping off the bottom. They're also they're coming down. They're coming down. If you go and get a high level dolphin account, which if you go, there's I can't remember how I did it, but there's ways to rank the staker accounts, the accounts that have and then you can get those addresses and you can plug it into a staker app and then view the world from the position of that staked account, right?
Yep.
And then you can see, if you do that on a long-term basis, you can see that ones that have been static have actually been going up in rank. The ones that have been and ones have been selling out. So there's definitely movement in those staked at the higher level, at the higher end. There's movement. And I think that's going to continue. I think it's just a matter of redistribution of HEX from the bigger holders to the smaller holders. And that's going to continue to take place in the same way it takes place with the OA being a large holder of liquid. But over the long term, the stakers getting the inflation in the system is going to reduce the percentage of the liquid or the HEX in existence that the OA holds over the long term.
Doesn't the OA still have some stakes though? As in, I didn't think it got rid of all its stakes, just some.
Maybe. I'm not sure. But as far as the OA to get its proportion of the yield
There
would
was
have to
there was
stake
a
the
massive
whole lot.
there was
you
a
know?
massive restake recently, by the way, that people assumed it was like on Twitter. People assumed it was Richard. It was like millions of HEX, and the full amount restaked, including the interest and everything, and got even less T-shares, as you'd expect. That
It must have been a short.
the full balance plus the big payday balance plus the interest all re-rolled into a new stake and got less T-shares than what that original stake had in T-shares.
They must have done it for the same amount of time.
Someone said thanks, Richard, but I don't know whether they actually did any chain analysis to show.
They must have done
it
it for the same amount of time, right? They couldn't have extended the time frame.
I think it was roughly this. I can't remember. I actually can't remember. I'll try and find the tweet, but I can't remember. So your main point because my question was, because the God Whale was buying.
What was your question? I forget.
And it was about the like getting inside the head of a whale that could easily turn the price around and bring back the
whales don't want to be
this belief in reflexivity that but you're not the exit liquidity if the fucking thing keeps going up, because then less people sell because they're like, I'm not going to sell because now this comes back, this whole thing. You have to. I'm saying within the context of you have to believe in this idea of reflexivity. This is the point of my question, right? Like that So it's you don't have to believe in it, but the question is, do they believe in it? Do they not? Why wouldn't they believe in it? If you believe in this idea of reflexivity, that when the price is going up, you're going to have more people enthusiastic to buy and people are going to be less enthusiastic to sell, then you're not being exit liquidity. You're just making your bag go up. So this idea of being exit liquidity, you're only exit liquidity if what you end up doing gets smacked down and the shit keeps going down. Like what happened to the God Whale theoretically there were several whales, I think, that tried to buy at certain levels, like 20 cents and in the teens and shit. And you actually saw the chart go back up, but then eventually turn around and come back down. But so maybe they're a bit PTSD or something from trying to do it in the previous cases where they thought they could turn it around and failing. But if you also now couple it with this idea of reflexivity coupled with the idea that we must surely be close to the bottom. Oh, I just remembered what I was going to say. I have this overarching hope for crypto as a whole that we can decorrelate from this fucking stupid correlation to macro narrative because the asset class is so small, right? So when you've got a small asset class, it's easier to break away from correlations to other things because it doesn't take that much economic energy. Like a single rich person can pretty much, like an Elon Musk or a fucking someone of that kind of order of magnitude wealth, could pretty much get crypto fucking going up, pretty much. And so one day, I believe, or I strongly hope,
just a couple of tweets from Elon Musk, yeah. A couple of tweets from Elon Musk.
I think they need to deploy capital. I think tweeting's not going to do it. Not in this level of bear, and also not when you've blown your fucking, like he's kind of like he's lost impact from the fact that so if it was the first time that the world's richest man was tweeting about crypto, then maybe. But now that he's shown that he's the McAfee effect, yeah, that he's now tweeted out, and so you've got this marginal return.
McAfee didn't eat his own dick.
Impact. So marginal impact of your tweets, yeah, like that. He's shown that now each time he tweets about Doge, it has less and less impact now. So it's not. So yeah. I think they would need. I think it would need to be a rich person deploying capital, not just supporting crypto verbally. But I do believe that one day, or I strongly hope that one day, crypto is going to decorrelate from macro in a positive sense And everyone that is relying on this idea of, oh, I'll just look at what's happening in macro and then that's how I'm going to trade crypto, is going to get so severely wrecked. And then that narrative will be broken for at least a few years, right? Like if it gets properly broken. And I think that'll be a good thing. I'd like to see crypto not being the bitch of legacy, because the whole point of its existence is to not be the bitch of legacy. So, and then, so then I believe that on a fractal of that, or on a smaller scale, like on a microcosm of that idea, HEX could actually break away from any bear market, even while crypto is still in the grips of a macroeconomic fuck up and a recession or a negative macro factors. I think HEX could just fucking blast away from all of it and become the shining city on the hill again. It's like, if you look at I'll pull up the liquidity. It's fucking tiny. Like any person. So I think part of the problem is most of the people within HEX who were quote unquote rich were only rich because their HEX was fucking at 50 cents. And anyone who believed in HEX enough to not sell, which was most of the OGs that had true conviction, didn't sell. And now they're not fucking multi-decker millionaires anymore. So they don't have the fucking stack that would be. So theoretically, their paper wealth, if they had taken it all into stables and they were still around now, they could easily be the entity that could turn this thing around. Unfortunately, I think the people, and that's the problem, right? The people with the highest conviction in HEX didn't sell and got fucking financially wrecked. And so now they're not here to be the ones to save the day and turn the price around. So you either need someone who was conservative enough to take quite a lot off the table near the top, to have enough dry powder to be the person to turn the fucking thing around, or a whale who was still legacy rich and didn't go all in on HEX, or someone else, like effectively someone who, we need a combination. It's simply this. We need a combination of someone who has a very high conviction of HEX, who wasn't already all in and got wrecked by the price of HEX going down so drastically. That we need one person with that fucking rap sheet that needs, and then, oh shit. What was I looking for? What was I trying to find? Oh, the liquidity.
Liquidity, yeah. HEX liquidity. You're saying that it was quite low.
So you weren't sharing my screen just then, were you? Because just don't share. No, don't share it yet. I need to turn something off. Because I need to just go get out of this and go fucking. I've forgotten where the HEX liquidity is. Oh, I've got a bookmark for this.
Isn't it?
Got it.
Info.uniswap.
No. I've got it. Boom. All right. Here are the two things here.
Can I turn it on?
Liquidity. And now you can turn it on. I've got these two liquidity. Oh my God, this is so bad. So here are the two. So these are for the two pools, the 0.3 and the point. So these are Uniswap V3 pools. So this is good, right? Like in terms of, we've got a lot more buy support, if you want to call it that, than we do having overhead sell resistance. If you believe that this is, like, I'm using the terms loosely here because it's not technically that, but so this one here, this 1% pool, this is actually looking quite good, quite supportive of the HEX price, and fuck all to make the price go up. Now let's look at the other one, 0.03. Oh, this one's bad. Like, so that's 186. Fuck. And what was, okay. So unfortunately, this is the main pool here. God damn, man. So there's 186 million HEX above us.
And how much in dollars? 186 million.
0.7 million of USDC underneath. And so you can see how thin this book is to the bottom. This is not good. So according to this, which is the main liquidity profile, although I have always said in the past, often when I've looked at these, the opposite happens of what you would expect from. So every time
There are
in the
buyers
past,
waiting in the wings, mate. There are buyers waiting in the wings.
Actually, I will say
think
that
a lot of buyers don't bother, putting in their limit orders.
Yeah. So basically, I think the reason why it's the opposite, like often what the opposite happens is, you could argue that all this is saying is that the sentiment is bearish at the moment. And that doesn't mean that you're not going to bottom and turn around and go back up. It just means, it means there's a shitload of people that are willing to sell their HEX at the moment. And not that many people are willing to buy. And that's what you expect to see at a bottom, right? You expect to see bearish sentiment in the book. And you are right that quite a lot of the buy, like I've got buy orders in HEX that don't show up here because it's on CowSwap, and they're limit orders on CowSwap, which are, all I've done is I've signed a fucking transaction that if the price goes low enough, CowSwap can pair me up with a seller. So, and you won't see that anywhere. It won't be in the mempool. I don't even know if they still have a mempool now, or if they ever did. Whatever the proof of stake ETH equivalent of a mempool is, their transaction ordering, pending transactions. You won't see it in pending transactions. You won't see it in the liquidity profile. There won't be a public metric of my limit order. And that's the same if people have queued up matcha ones or any of that shit. Or if people are just mentally thinking, if it goes to this price, I will market buy. So you're absolutely right that there's a lot of buy support that you're not seeing. I think a lot of people do still just wait for the price. They wait for roughly the price they want, and so that they can. So if you put a limit order in, it means that when it gets to that level, if you were to look at the chart and be like, yeah, I know it got to the level that I wanted to buy at, but judging by how the chart looks, I think this looks like trash. I actually don't want to buy it, right? Which is obviously a mistake that a lot of rookies make. They never buy. However, something about it might actually change your mind. There might be something fundamentally or technical that makes you go, I actually don't want to buy now. So if you want that last minute ability to change your mind or to something, a lot of people, it is smart to kind of go, okay, well, this is the rough level that I'm thinking about buying, but I want to see what the fucking situation is. You could have more bearish news, or there could be some shit going on in macro or crypto general, or fucking like subpoena letters or some shit that makes you change your mind. So I do agree with you. I hear a lot of people saying that them or their friends are planning to buy 2 cent, between 2 and 1.5. But you did hear lots of people saying that they had like wealthy friends that were going to buy 2 cents, and now we're below 2 cents. So if that had been true, that there were like big dogs ready to come in and fucking snatch up HEX at 2 cents, we wouldn't be significantly below, because now we're like 10% below 2 cents, right? Those motherfuckers would be filling their bags. So yeah, everything just always brings me back to this reflexive shit. We need the price to go up for the price to go up. That's as simple as that.
I just think
always
that
end up back at that point.
Man. They have to play. The time has to play out, just like it's played out in the Bitcoin cycles. Things have to play out, and we're in the middle. Like, I don't see.
But does it when the liquidity is this low and one person could just fix the problem in like a fucking click of a button, though? Do we have to go through all this time pain?
Sentiment, but but you're going to just have.
But this is what the message I'm trying to send is. The sentiment
chicken or the egg.
But the sentiment, you see it on Twitter. You see it not just in our community, but you see it. The price does change the sentiment. You see these influencers that have been in the space for multiple cycles, and when there's a big green day, their videos is all flowers and rainbows. Okay.
All right,
so
I hear your point, Tangent, but
that's why I keep saying sustained. That's why I keep saying sustained. All someone needs to do is turn the price around and not just pump it for a day, but just get a sustained upward momentum, and then the sentiment will change.
That person, if that's one entity or one person, or even a bunch of
Well,
whales get
I'm
together
just saying,
and try
I'm
and
just
do
saying
that,
it could
right?
be one entity with the scale of the liquidity on this coin. I'm not saying it has to be just one person. It could be multiple people. Even
But
better, the more people, the better.
Inevitably, when the price starts going up, there are going to be people who have bought this low who are going to be happy with a 2x, happy with a 3x, happy with a 4x, and they're going to sell on the way up.
Yeah,
So
but
someone's going
bro,
to need to eat that. If it's going to happen in the way that you're saying, then
But
someone
that logic,
has
but
to
that
do
logic
right?
can just be used into perpetuity until the fucking coin price is zero. At some point,
Yeah. So
like,
no. I guess the point I'm trying to make is I'm not like trying to disagree with you. I'm just saying that when it just organically gets to the point where all of the weak hands have sold, like those people with that mentality of I'm going to sell are out, and then we bottom. I would have
but my
thought that.
point is that time will never come if the price keeps going down, because people's hands get weaker and weaker as the price goes lower.
I just don't think you can apply some like alchemy type. I can engineer a bottom and push it up because I want it to happen in this way. I don't think it can be engineered in that way.
I am not trying to sound like market manipulation or any shit like that. I'm just saying
no, that's not what I mean.
What I'm trying to say is people's hands, like, look, I think a good example of this is, I haven't seen any of it because obviously I curate who I follow and I only follow fucking Gs. But I've heard other people talking about how a lot of HEX OGs have like spat the dummy and they're fucking like rage quitting and shit. I haven't seen it, but I hear that it's happening. Do you think that would have happened if the price hadn't gone below 3 cents? I don't think so, because at 3 cents, those people weren't fucking losing their shit. So it's like there are people who are like claim to be diamond hands or they claim to be convicted, but the lower you go, the weaker people's hands get. So there is a limit for everyone has a limit, right? And so so I'm really making 2 points here. I strongly believe in this idea of a reflexive system, and that if the price was to start to head up even slowly, I think it would be really, really good for the ecosystem, like for the coin.
Oh yeah.
And I'm also saying that it would be fucking easy to do. Like, it wouldn't take much economic energy to do it. I'm not encouraging anyone to fucking do market manipulation. And I'm just saying the lower we go, the worse this gets. And the idea that the weak hands will get just shaken out by us going lower and lower and lower, I'm saying the opposite. I'm saying the lower we go, the worse it gets. The lower we go, the more weak hands there are. So this idea of it happening, like being like, oh, don't worry, man, it's all good. Like, we'll get there in the end. I'm saying, no, it's not all good. This is getting worse. This is getting worse the lower we go. So I guess
I agree. But we are in the middle of a crypto winter. We're in it's almost like praying or saying, if we just in the middle of a winter expecting like a hot day, like so we can all go out in shorts. It is like, I just see it as like, it is a cycle. It is what it is. It needs to play out. It just needs to play out.
I think
that's the way.
So there's some aspects of this that we agree on, but I think the core elements we're technically disagreeing. I just think so. I still believe it would only take one coin to turn around the sentiment for the entire industry. I still believe that these systems are reflexive, which Richard Hart himself said. I don't believe that it would be a problem. Like, as in, I don't think that. Look, I guess you could say. Okay, I'll sort of say one thing that's on your side of this is one of the problems with only one coin performing well in a bear market or in a crypto winter is if all of their other shit is getting wrecked in legacy and all their other crypto shit is getting wrecked, and they need money, they're going to need to sell the one thing that's got some fucking value. However, the reason why that won't impact HEX is because most HEX users don't own other shit. Like, most HEX users were dedicated HEX only motherfuckers, or they started their crypto journey with HEX. So we don't really have that problem where people have got these like diverse portfolios and they're like, shit, this is the only thing of mine that's performing well. So I think we would be somewhat shielded from that happening. And maybe I'm a little bit falling into the trap here of doing that thing which I tell people not to do, of simplifying narratives and being like, oh, the entire fucking cohort that's in HEX is all going to behave one way. Yeah. I still strongly believe in this general comment about reflexivity. that if the price was going up, it would just continue to go up. That price up is the best advertisement for HEX for new people, and it's also the best thing to inspire people who are already in to either buy more or stay in. I really do believe that. And so that is I just keep coming back to that reflexivity and just the overall sentiment. And
I don't disagree with what you're saying, man. I don't disagree with what you're saying on
and
reflexivity.
how about
I think it's just the time.
How about just
when
do it
it's
slowly?
happen.
How about just do it slowly? How about just do it slowly? Like, just so this idea of like, oh, but then you're going to let people like exit, like you're going to just like let dumpers get more value out of the system. It doesn't need to get sent straight back to all-time high, even though it wouldn't cost that much to do it. Like you could just create the bottom, support it, flatten it out, and then start moving it up slowly so that you're not doing this thing where people are like, oh, sweet. So you know how you said like someone might be willing to sell for a 2x? You don't have to give them a 2x. You could just move it slowly from 1.8 cents over the next few weeks up to 2.5 cents. That's not even a 2x. And it's like, but then you see that people are like, okay, fuck yeah, the trend here is up. So I think maybe when I present some of these ideas, people build in their own assumptions that I'm saying, fucking send it straight back to look at this liquidity profile. A whale could just send this straight back to all-time high. That's not what I'm saying. I
do assume that when you say that, I do make that assumption. I do. So that's
I think I just realized that maybe that's part of where we're like not connecting on this idea. But
don't you think that
I mean,
it's slow, like a slow upward trend when the overall crypto
so relative strength
is positive?
That would show relative strength. Yeah, that would be amazing. That'd be enough for people to latch onto and point to HEX and be like, look how amazing HEX is doing. Even like just flat.
Sometimes it's Bitcoin, sometimes it's Ethereum that just does a big pump, and then that just sends everyone into a positive thing. But like you got to come back to the fact that there's not a lot of disposable income out there. Like if you just I'm just going to take Australia because we're an Australian we're Australians, yeah. So in Australia, interest rates have gone up for homeowners. For anyone who's got loans, have gone up significantly. They've gone up like that. They might have doubled in the last year, right? Whatever rate you're paying might have doubled in the last year. So, unless you're on a fixed, but for those people who they might have been crypto investors, not only have they lost value in their crypto, now they haven't got money to invest at the lows because they're paying it in form of extra interest repayments. So, when it could be that we are as much as we want to be decoupled from, the legacy, it could be that, it's interest rates need to go down.
That's just one group. That's like
one group.
People are having their disposable income strained.
Yeah,
is not the group of people. Is not the group of people that I'm talking about who could do this.
No,
you would need to be a big dog. You would need to be a big dog to be able to do this. This is not aimed at like a small group of people who are like struggling to pay their mortgages. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But you're talking about to keep it sustained. Like you're talking about for it to
other people to come in and
you do eventually need it to be sustainable.
Otherwise, it doesn't work out for the whale that's doing that. It doesn't work out for them either. If it's just them, it's going to be like everyone. So ultimately, I still feel like we need to turn the corner on all this negative stuff on the macro. But I don't know, man. I mean, it could turn at any time. Who knows? Who knows, bro? Who knows?
Yeah, I hope so.
I hope so. I think we've had enough. Like we've been a good year. Do you know what
we've had? So much time and price pain has just been absolutely fucked.
How much was the price December or January last year?
Oh, do you know that what the price was? Man, don't even look. I don't want to cry on stream like that little bitch. What are we even doing here, man?
I'm gonna.
bro, if I saw the price from a year ago, I would literally be like, what the fuck are you even doing here, man?
Yeah, you're about to.
What the fuck are we even doing here?
Okay. So on the 3rd of January, we were in the low 20s. So we're maybe 20, let's just say 23, 24 cents, right?
Yeah, brutal.
That's what we're at, 23, 24 cents a year ago. So can we work out like what a we're not going to take from all-time high. We're going to just take from that.
Oh, so yeah, so we've been like time-wise, our HEX bear market has been like over 18. Has it been over 18 months yet?
We're getting there. We're getting there.
Yeah, I think so.
We are definitely getting there because our all-time high
400
was
476 days. I think this is the same.
All-time high was like the 18th or 19th of September, October, November, December, January, February, March. So we'd need to get to like mid-March to be 18 months. Yeah. So that couple of months.
We're almost 16 months. So it's like 2 and a bit months from now.
Yeah. 2.5 months from now.
Man, that's insane. That's insane.
It doesn't feel like that long ago. We've been keeping ourselves occupied a lot. No, like seriously, it feels like not that long ago that we were at all-time highs. But it's been like almost a year and a half, which is probably a positive thing. Yeah, it's probably a positive thing because. But what I would like to, this is a question for you. What effect do you think, like if Pulse testnet version 3 comes out in the next quarter, this quarter? What effect do you think that will have? Do you think that will give people something positive to latch onto? What?
Yeah, yes. But my genuine fear is that the longer this fucking takes, the less that impact will be. That's my fear. That
I think we're past
the longer this goes on,
diminishing returns. I think we've already diminished.
No. So this is like my comment about the lower the price goes, the more weak hands there are. There is no limit, bro. That every day or every week that goes past, there's more and more people that are like.
Oh, hang on, you're talking in relation to the HEX price. Okay,
in terms of the impact for HEX price, but also maybe even the launch, like the trajectory of Pulse price from launch in that early stage. The number of people who have kind of like either lost faith or who need the money or are just like, I think that it just gets worse with time, right? Like, in my opinion. So that's my fear. That the longer that it goes on, the less positive impact it's going to have for HEX in terms of these announcements of chains launching or testnets launching and the main chain launching, and the less the price will be positive price action for Pulse in its infancy. Because the people who were really enthusiastic were like, fuck, I missed the Pulse sacrifice, man, I'm going to buy so much of it as soon as it launches. You would have to admit that a lot of people, those people will have changed their attitude to thank fuck I didn't sacrifice, because my shit would have been tied up for like 18 fucking months or over a year or whatever. So that enthusiasm of like, shit, I wish I had sacrificed, I need to correct that mistake that I made, has switched to, oh, good thing I didn't. Like, so it's an attitude shift that gets worse and worse as time goes on. So, but I do still think that there will be a positive impact on HEX price when we get some solid news. I think even that dude who claims to be a Pulse dev, it hasn't been confirmed by Richard yet whether he is or not. You saw that guy, Barep or whatever his name is, at Barep. Did you see that shit?
Nope.
So someone on Twitter's claiming to be one of the main Pulse devs. I'll tell, so the reason I'm skeptical is because Richard has made a massive thing about saying how he always wants to keep his devs unknown so that people can't try and poach them and people can't try and like fucking corrupt them or or like threaten them, or like, you know what I mean? Like, he's like, you will, I think he even said once, you're never going to know the names of my real gun fucking gold star devs. You will never know who they are, right? And then this guy's come out publicly saying I'm one of the main PulseChain devs. So that doesn't line up. Richard hasn't come out saying that he is or that he isn't. Like, he hasn't said this guy's a liar, he's not a PulseChain dev, or, you know, or this guy's overplaying how significant component he is to the team. Richard has been silent on that. And he would have definitely seen it because the amount of retweets and shit that this guy's getting. This guy's blown up in follow count. He's got like, he went from being like under 1,000 followers to now I think he's like over 4,000 or close to 4,000 followers just from claiming to be a Pulse dev and showing some screenshots of some fucking testnet shit. Someone asked like, why are you even bothering to fucking continue testing this fucking testnet that's not the right consensus algorithm? Because it's the wrong shit. So why does anyone give a fuck? Like, why are you even wasting your time testing
DApps, because the DApps
V2B? And yeah, he said short answer. He said short answer, this, and he said long answer, go and research these keywords. So that was quite good to know that there is
DApps,
still,
because the DApps are all,
yeah. I think you're right. I think you're right. I think that was part of his answer was DApps.
Yeah,
and
all that stuff, the front ends, all that stuff still has to interact with the same shit pretty much.
Yep. So I just don't get, like, do you think it would have been like, do you think it would have been a bad idea to maybe for Richard to have just done 2 test nets for version 3 and be like, everyone wants this fucking test net so bad. Let's just launch a test net that might not be perfect, just so everyone shuts the fuck up and get the enthusiasm back. But tell them, look, there'll actually be one more iteration of testnet because of the drastic changes in consensus algorithm that happened with this ETH 2.0 shit and the change of going from delegated proof of stake to just whatever the fucking thing is now, just normal, regular proof of stake or whatever. It means that we're going to iterate the testnet twice before going main, which is fair. I think that's quite fair. And then it's like, here's the testnet that's actually that's closer than what we were using before for you guys to play around with, keep the enthusiasm high, and then go, rather than, because I can't really be fucked using testnet at the moment because I'm like, this is not the real shit. Like, this is not even, like, it's not even the right shit.
I haven't messed around with it at all. I've got to be honest, in a long while. I don't know, man. It just seems like maybe it's a lot of work for them to do that. Like, it's a lot of, and maybe there's no ROI on doing that. Like, because the second the real testnet comes out, everyone's going to be super hyped about it anyway. So it's like hype on demand. Snap a finger, testnet version 3, everyone's going to be hyped no matter what. So I don't know if maybe they just can't be bothered until they know it's ready to go. Like, just to put effort into putting some sort of half-assed testnet up just to make, like, not that many people go and play with it anyway.
But sometimes PR is fucking part of it, right?
True.
Like, as in,
that's true.
Like, as in,
yeah.
So you might be right that, like, the level of effort maybe, and I guess the biggest one would be, you're right, if it caused a delay, like, as in, if it caused any sort of delay to getting the real shit out, then people would be pissed. They'd be like, do you know what I mean? But obviously you wouldn't have to admit that.
When version 3 is ready, it's ready. But I expect, my expectation, and we shouldn't have expectation of work from others, but maybe I should change maybe I should say this.
Your hope,
my belief is that once version 3 comes out, that's going to be pretty solid. I believe once version 3 comes out, it's going to be because
I fucking hope so.
Yeah, like, I don't think we're going to have version 4, right? I think we're going to have version 3. And then once that comes out, I think that we are going to be very, very close. I think there's going to be a few weeks of testing just to make sure that everything's, and everyone's going to be encouraged to jump on and try it. But then I think we're going to be ready to go soon after. I really think we will be ready to go soon after. That's my hope. It's, you know,
Yeah, that's fair. Hey, should we do something we don't normally do and take some questions? Like, did you see anything in the chat that because our viewers are fucking sick. Like,
our viewers are smart.
Our viewers are
teach us shit every week, man. They teach us stuff every week. Our viewers, smart motherfuckers. There's this one. Do you think it's better to launch PulseX with Uniswap version 2 code or wait for Uniswap version 3 license to become available in May?
Oh, I don't want to wait I don't want to wait a second longer. Anything like fuck May. Like, I want my answer is because it's not that hard to just that hard to just add V3. Like the front end of PulseX can just run on V2 and then you can just upgrade it and offer V3 shit later. Like, and just like many of these sites have got the button that changes you between V2 and V3. So you would just add the back end and then just update the front end with a fucking toggle. Like, I don't think there's enough of a justifiable reason to wait just to have it so that you've got both on launch. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree with that. All right, seems uninterested in morale boosting. The hubris is bleeding over to appear uncaring for those of us who have held and been dumpers, exit liquidity while still educating and supporting adoption.
Yeah, I mean, when I say I'm not admitting that I agree with this, but I have heard this said by numerous people. Like, as in, there are many who share your sentiment, and I neither confirm nor deny whether I'm in that category myself.
I'm not in that category because I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck. I'm just like, I really don't care about the morale thing. It's like, you know, I don't care about it, man. Like, and I understand, Toby, you do. I don't, man. I don't care. I think when prices start going up, eventually, if they do, I think everyone's morale is going to come back and everyone's going to be dancing around doing handstands in the front yard. I will be doing handstands in the front yard when prices start going back.
I do care about the morale in the sense that in terms of how it indirectly impacts price, but also it makes Twitter more enjoyable to be on when everyone's like fucking saying positive shit about HEX and everyone feels like a big fucking HEX family and shit. So I think there's a lot to be said for, like, I mean, just imagine for Richard himself, like, as in, even if he just did it as a selfish act where he's just like, I'm sick of fucking people saying dumb shit. Like, it's just an easy way to shut people up. Like, do you know what I mean?
I
like,
think there's a shortcut to morale.
Positive. It's just better for him. Like,
bro, the shortcut to morale, and this is just for the ones who are interested, is when like there's like hot hexicans posting like gorgeous pics of themselves on Twitter. That's the shortcut. That is like, that's how we achieve morale, in my opinion, in a bear market. And apart from price going up, I mean, what else is there that morale boosting? I mean, I don't know. I don't.
So
look, it's
Richard,
not.
Richard.
Sorry, go on, mate.
Richard tweeted about New Year's resolutions, like asking everyone to post their New Year's resolutions, and he listed his own. And one of them was to increase capital deployment. So you're saying
what was
having
the first
hot
one?
girls.
The first one was like, I don't want to be a fat fuck or some shit.
There was no alcohol, lower calories, increased protein.
I hear you, RH. I hear you on that one.
There was deploy more capital,
less carbs.
I forget what the first one was, but I was just thinking. So if you were in like 43, this is questions for you. If you were in well, people can say in the chat as well. Like, if you were in Richard's position and you had to, quote unquote, deploy more capital, you're in this position. You're already spending a fuck ton on devs. You're already spending a fuck ton on Louis Vuitton and sparkly diamond shit. You're already spending a fuck ton on, like, I guess, like, fuck knows what. Like, as in all the outrage marketing, you basically max that shit out. Where would be the next place that you would deploy capital? In Yeah, or anywhere. It doesn't even have to be within crypto. You've got the world is your oyster. Where would you go with your capital?
Me.
Yeah, or anyone in the chat.
Yeah. Put it out to the chat. Put it out to
But
the
you
chat.
can answer the question while we're waiting for people to answer.
Where would I deploy my capital? I would like to buy a barrel in which I can ferment grape juice into wine. And I would like to buy a pen in which I can put a baby pig. I can feed it all the scraps that we eat, all the leftover junk until it becomes fat. And then we can slaughter that pig and make sausages.
Bro. I think you need to scale your fucking thinking up. Like it's on Richard's
No,
scale,
we're
it'd be
talking
like buy the whole vineyard, like as in you'd buy the entire vineyard, or you'd buy you would buy fucking the entire wine company.
Okay, bro, we're in a bear market. 1.6, 1.8 cents.
Not.
I'm buying.
Richard's
I'm
not.
buying
No. In this hypothetical, you're Richard Hart.
Oh,
You've
I'm
got
Richard
unlimited.
Hart.
You've got
Okay,
yes.
okay,
This is
yes,
you.
all right.
Oh, yes. Sorry. Did I not make that clear?
No.
In this
I
situation,
tuned out.
You
I
are
was
Richard
reading.
Hart, and you're deploying capital in
My mistake.
2023.
You
Look,
probably
there's a
said
comment
it
here.
clearly. I was just reading comments, and I think I tuned out for like 10 seconds.
There's a comment. There's a comment here where this comment I believe was posted before I even asked the hypothetical, but I like the answer in answer to my hypothetical. A HEX helicopter, a HEX super yacht. Like I think they're great answers because then you really would be getting the attention and seeding the idea of HEX to the ultra wealthy when you start to see a fucking like effectively like the marketing strategy that FTX used, but rather than using other, you know how FTX like branded an entire stadium with fucking FTX shit.
Yeah.
Richard has the ability to do that, but without it being stolen funds from other people. Now, actually, I know that haters, RH haters will say technically it is with other people's money, but this, in my opinion, it is not stolen funds. You could maybe argue it's other people's money, but it's not. It was not fraudulently taken from other people.
Not other people's money.
It was not other people. It was not stolen funds
money.
from other people.
It was sacrificed. Everyone sacrificed. Everyone who put money there sacrificed.
Yeah, that as well. But I'm trying to suggest that if someone was to try and mount that argument, the distinction I would make is the fraud part. Yeah, like that regardless of whether you consider this is whose money it is, there was no fraud involved here. So, yeah.
Yeah, so what would Richard Hart, what could he do? That's a good question. Dude. I'd need to reflect upon it because if you're asking me what I would do.
Yeah, that's the question. It's what would you do if you were in Richard's position? Like, so you're the OA. Oh, sorry, you're the founder of HEX. You are the founder of HEX. You're a rumored billionaire. And you've got a capital deployment problem, but it's you. You're not trying to predict what he would do or suggest or make a suggestion that he would like. You are in ultimate control. This is your decision and your capital, but it's you're in his position.
What I would do is I would be watching the macro, watching like crypto, and waiting until I saw a reversal in like. When things started.
Why? What? Why?
You asked me what I would do, dude.
No, but that's not an answer. No, that's not an answer.
You can't ask me what I'm going to do, and then when it doesn't conform with what you want me to say. It doesn't answer the question.
Yo, watching and waiting is not a capital deployment. The answer has to be something that you're deploying capital into.
So I have to
saying
spend
that you're
money.
going to watch and wait. You have to deploy the capital.
Have you seen Brewster's Millions?
Bro,
I would buy a ship made out of ice and sail it from the Antarctica to the Caribbean. That's what I would do.
A ship made out of ice.
Yeah. So by the time we're talking about just spending money for no reason.
No. That wasn't the question either. It wasn't how do you waste money. It was how would you deploy capital? So maybe I'm not wording this question properly.
Wasn't he talking about? Hang on. Wasn't he talking?
He said he wanted more capital deployment.
No, but wasn't previous to this year he talking about, he wants to like be he wants to employ
Ash would
a
do
lot of people.
Ash would do a boating accident. Fucking someone's saying Jexa listens to Peter McCormack. He could have been quoting from an old video, maybe. Oh, and by the way, I don't think there's anything wrong with listening to haters so that you can mentally rebut their shit. Like, as in, the problem becomes if you're fucking promoting their shit to other people. If you're smart and you're not, and like, if you're a dedicated maxi in your coin, you're unlikely to get your opinion changed listening to dumbass haters. However, you at least get to hear what they're saying to poison other people so that you're armed with good rebuttals. Like, I don't think there's anything wrong with watching people within the crypto space that that are the like quote unquote haters, as long as you're not advertising their content to others. You know?
Yeah.
Bitcoin maxis have to lie to protect their back. Are these comments old?
Maybe. I think, yeah. Where are you on the comments?
There's a comment about the God whale here. God whale's 2.1 billion 45-day stake brought it down a bit, but if he continues to roll it over, will net ratchet the share rate up.
You're back, dude. You're way.
Oh,
behind.
these must be old, but these are the most recent comments
shit.
I've got. Maybe I'll head over to YouTube. To
Dude, those comments are from 2022. They're old as fuck.
Oh, did anyone do a New Year's stream?
Oh, you know what? I'll tell you. I know what you do. I know what I'll do. I just saw it.
Okay.
Someone just said in the chat, and that's a fucking awesome idea. I'd buy a fucking island. You can buy islands for pretty cheap. I'd buy an island. I'd make it Hex Island. I would fucking do some landscape gardening. Not me personally. I would employ like
pay for so that from an aerial view, there's like a garden that's shaped like
it
a
says
hex.
It's got the Hex logo. It's got the Hex logo.
So from drone footage and helicopters, from flying into the island, you see this massive. Yeah, that's sick. That's fucking sick,
dude.
That's a sick
an
idea.
island. I think you can get an island for like. I think you can get an island for like a few $100,000.
Oh yeah. You can buy islands with
cheap as
these
fuck.
are islands that have got no infrastructure. So they've got no infrastructure. You have to bring everything with you. It doesn't have running water. It doesn't have electricity.
Bro, a boat with a few lawnmowers, like big deal.
Yeah. You bring boat. You bring a boat, and you basically live on the boat. So you effectively, you would also buy a cruise ship, and then you would rock up to the island with the cruise ship, and everyone lives on the cruise ship with full catering, rooms, beds. Like, so you live on the cruise ship, but then every day you can get off the cruise ship and fuck around on the island. That would be perfect. Then you don't have to like build all the infrastructure on the island and wait, because you've got the modern conveniences of living on a cruise ship. So just buy an island, buy a cruise ship.
You don't want to have any infrastructure on this island. You just want it to be just plants. You just want it to be.
I think the cruise ship would cost more than the island. I think the cruise ships cost way more than the island. Actually,
why would you get a cruise ship? Why would you
rent the cruise ship? Rent the cruise ship. Rent the cruise ship. No, because you would want to have it that you can have like heaps of people there, more than just like
bro.
A super yacht might only hold like 40 people.
No. You want to go easy on this shit. You want to go easy on this shit, man. Because remember, and I thought this as well. I was about to say it.
Oh, like, good point.
You don't want the.
That's
Epstein,
a good point. Good point. That's too many people. Cruise ship's too many people.
You just want an island that you can, just for the drone footage. That's it.
Okay.
No one needs to be on.
Like the Fire Festival advertisements. Like when they advertised Fire Festival. They went to an island and then filmed all the shit like on this random island. So a bit like that. You just content island. Yep. Then it's tax deductible as well. Beautiful.
There you go.
Hey, I just remembered when I asked the rhetorical question of like, I wonder if anyone streamed on New Year's Eve, like did like a bringing in the New Year hex style. Someone probably did.
I don't know.
And that reminded me. Shout out HEX conference. That's going to be January 6 to 9, I think. So that's in a few days. Richard is going to be on there, and Crypto7 predicts that he will have to make a comment about like all the things that people are curious about in terms of PulseChain, and there was another couple of things about like whether the bottom is fucking in or coming or whatever. Crypto7 thinks that he's surely going to have to kind of like make some kind of comment, even if it's not specific, and some kind of answer or commentary to kind of, you know, because that's what's on everyone's minds. And so Richard's going to be on that. I'm on there. Are you going to be on there? I'm going to be on there. I think at some point. I haven't actually checked my messages from Maddie to find out what day I'm on or whatever, but I'll be on there on some kind of panel. And obviously everyone should watch it and shit like that. I think, you know, Crypto 7 thinks that could have a positive price impact, particularly if Richard's got shit to say. Everyone seems to love Richard streaming and sees Richard streaming, even when he just repeats the same shit. People seem to get excited by that, which is fair. And yeah, so shout out HEX conference. Don't forget to watch it in a few days. He should do a Pornhub video of him whipping his ass with $100 bills. I think you might be muted. Are you muted?
Yeah, I think he means wiping. It is wiping.
Oh, wiping. Sorry, that's me. That's my fault. I misread that. Either is ridiculous, but
I do not want to see that. I do not.
I don't want to see either. I don't want to see him whipping or wiping his ass with fucking bills.
Yeah, no, thank you. I don't want to see not just him. I don't want to see anyone doing that. I don't want to see anyone doing that. Here's a question: would you watch it? Would you watch it?
You know how I wouldn't watch it if someone said there's a video of Richard doing that shit. I wouldn't even watch it.
Yeah.
You know how
it would be
how Richard. You know how Richard was willing to do things
that
within
would be
the original
real
marketing.
Sorry, that would be real outrage marketing. That would be the most outrageous outrage marketing. But I don't think you can ever come back from that if you did something like that.
You could do it a little bit more tastefully. You could do it a little bit more tastefully, like where so you could do it. You could literally tip bottles of San Pellegrino sparkling water into your toilet and be like, Richard Hart only shits in San Pellegrino, and then you don't actually have to show your ass or anything like that. No,
dude, you do it with champagne, French champagne.
Yes,
Don Perignon.
Yes. Like
you're
like I only piss in champagne. So my toilet flushes champagne. Like the cistern gets rigged up with bottles like magnums of fucking champagne.
We should compile a list.
See, that's the kind of outrage marketing that I would actually fucking like to see. Not this unboxing videos of Prada and shit. Yes. We need shit that's actually, shit that actually makes people furious.
I'm coming up with a new segment for the HEX Late Show. New segment.
Yes.
It's like we're going to come up with new outrage marketing ideas. So we've already got
That's actually outrageous. Outrageous. Shit that would make people furious.
The first one is buy an island and put like hex like bushes, like hexagon bushes, like in the form of the hex, like landscape it to look like a hex, so a drone can fly over the top and see it. The second one, we need to see like toilets, like a toilet with like a main line. It needs to be a main line. It can't just be like you tip in the bottom.
Yeah. From the factory, fucking factory. Like, so he has to buy like a chateau in France that's actually in the Champagne district, so that the places that make the champagne can actually have a fucking pipeline that runs to the house. But I've already thought of the problem, man. I've already thought of a problem. Like, the logistics is easy. We could absolutely make this happen, but I've thought of a problem. Richard Hart's got this attitude where he doesn't like to, quote unquote, waste money. So he only likes to do outrage marketing where he ends up with the fucking item. Remember how when I won't say the guy's name because he's like the devil of the fucking HEX community, suggested that he just blows up a Lambo, and Richard's like, I'm not doing that. It's a waste of money. Like, I want to keep the Lambo. So flushing with champagne.
Hang on. This is not a problem.
He's actual waste. He doesn't get to keep the champagne.
No. But we don't have to worry about that. We just have to worry about making ideas. It doesn't have to be Richard Hart doing it.
That's true. Any of us could do it.
Doing it.
Any of us could do it in the next bull market.
Yeah, we can make it. We can pile
any dolphin could do it. in a bull
Okay.
market.
All right. I've got a new segment for the Hex Late Show. It's called "We Need to come up with outrage marketing." We're gonna compile a list,
Yes.
and we're gonna add something to that list every single week until we've got a big list. And then in the
Yes.
bull market, whoever does things on that list is gonna get their
Fuck
name.
yes.
Yes. We're gonna like tick them off, and like we're gonna.
Yes.
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 Okay.
And
Have we got it?
so
New segment.
viewers can submit ideas, a bit like how people used to submit their price predictions. People can submit ideas, and we also come up with ones, and we can, what should we do? Pick one a week. We pick one a week to add to
And
the
it's going to be
list.
called Bitch Tits 2.0.
And anyone in the bull market or in the bear market, but it'll be more likely people will be able to afford it in the bull market. If you do it, then you win a week. Like you get shouted out that week. And if someone does 2 in a week, then obviously we just wait. Someone waits and gets the following week. So you get like a week dedicated to you. But also there needs to be content of it so that we can fucking push that shit to Twitter and and YouTube and all the different social medias.
Yeah, there's going to have to be video of this, this thing being achieved. But ultimately, we need to try and get like Richard to do it. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yes. He's probably going to be the person who can afford to do it immediately. Like he can do it straight away. He doesn't have to wait for bull. 2, he can definitely afford to do some of the like crazier ones that might only be able to be done by him.
On that note, man, I'm going to have to wind it up because I hear one of my offspring is not having a good time of it downstairs. I need to go sort out what's going on.
I think that's actually an excellent time to tie it up. I think that's
an
excellent thing to end on.
All right.
Cheers, man. Guys, enjoyable stream.
People in the chat, I want you guys to have a think about, what we're gonna put on this list next week. We need to come up with some outrage marketing for Richard to execute upon. All right, guys. Thank you very much. Thanks, Tangent. We'll see everyone next week.
Stay bullish, mofos.